And here I am. And this is YuriBruce Podcast, random topics. This is going to be short and sweet. I have a lot of other stuff I got to do. I'm way behind on editing and stuff. So I'm going to not be on here very long. But what I'll do is I will answer some questions. That's what I'll do. Let me look at my comments. So I have to warn you, if you happen to be watching this YouTube video, I'm get some crazy people on my comments saying crazy stuff. So, but just remember, it's just comments. So this first one is talking about some kind of a remedy, and they're trying to get you to call or talk to somebody, and I can't confirm this kind of stuff, so I have to destroy it. You know, for all I know, it's just a scam. I don't know, so I can't take that chance. Let me see. Somebody asked me about K1 visa process. People ask us about this because we talk about it a lot, and we still do put out content on it every now and then. Not as active as we used to be, but we have a couple books. If you're interested, go to Amazon.com and you type in YuriBruce and you'll find our book. The book is really good. We're in the process of like expanding on it and doing some green card stuff. And I was just looking at it again and I'm thinking, wow, this is actually really good. It's a really decent breakdown of what's going on. Mr. Worldwide, how you doing? I'm just reading some comments. I want to apologize in advance for the vile things you're about to see in my comments that sometimes I have to delete. Let me see. Tina says, do I personally write those letters? Kindly share with me your opinion. Thank you. I'm not sure what letters she's talking about. Letter of intent. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes. You have to write the letter of intent. That's what we did anyway. That's what I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an authorized consultant or anything, but that's what we did, and it worked. It was accepted evidence. So, yes, that's what we did, and you should do the same thing, I think. But don't take my word for it. Check it out on Visa Journey. See what other people have done. And I'm just going to put an answer here. That is what we did. Mr. Worldwide said the process is a bear for the K1 right now. What's going on with the K1? Is there anything new happening with it? I know that they've halted some of the interviews. That's the last I've heard, is that they stopped doing in-person interviews for some time, which is making it a much longer process for K1. How do I make the letters of intent? You can use a template of the letter of intent. There is a template on visajourney.com and YuriBruce.com and in our book. I should probably give her some links. They just reopened that. Oh, they just reopened the interviews for K1 visa. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. That's cool. Good to know. Let me see. Where can you letter of intent, K1 visa letter of intent to marry. So I'm trying to find a sample letter for this person. They're really all over the internet. I mean, Visa Tutor has one. We know that guy. Letter of intent. Trying to give them an example of one that they could use. Not necessarily ours. It's pretty straightforward, you know. But there's the link right there to some random site. Yeah, this one's gonna be pretty short, guys. I got some editing I gotta do for the channels, but I just thought I'd answer some questions. People been sending questions and comments and stuff. They just reopened interviews for K1 visa, and they have priority servicing. Oh, okay, didn't know that. To get through the backlog from the pandemic. I mean, we're still in the pandemic, so what are they really doing? Like, what's their? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's cool that they're starting, but technically, like, nothing in the U.S., nothing has really changed for us. We have the same. I mean, we have the same amount of deaths. If anything, it's gotten worse. But that's cool that they're starting it up again. All right, I'm gonna read some more comments here. Okay, now we're getting to the UFO stuff. And let me see. It said, well, as humans, we've explored our entire solar system for research and discovery. We take insane precautions to not bring Earth's microbes along on spacecraft. As we advance and attempt to explore beyond the solar system, I fully anticipate that we will do this as well. And 1, so that we don't destroy the potential biological abode. 2, if our microbes end up there, how could we ever hope to learn if we are but one tiny piece of the cosmological puzzle? If we find earthen type life out there, be so difficult to sort out. Okay, and then he goes on to say, it's the strangest report that ended up being accurate, the accurate ones. The strangest reports that end up becoming accurate ones. And then he says, yeah, this is the one where I was talking about. This is all the stuff I was talking about, aliens and stuff like that. And honestly, I don't know what's going on. It's the Pentagon is saying that they're confirming some stuff that was found, and I honestly, I don't know. At this point, I don't know what to think, about this whole thing. But it's amazing that they're actually coming forward with it, and I'm just wondering where all this is gonna go. They've even said that they may have actual wreckage from some actual UFOs. So how much is that going to get leaked? How much of it has already been used, leaked? Who knows? I don't know that humanity is ready for that, to be honest. It's pretty immature. We can't even get our stuff together without aliens. We're about to destroy the planet without aliens. We don't need anything else crazy to happen at this point. Like, we're not mature enough to handle this, in my opinion. Anyway, let me keep reading here, and I need to see some comments here, see what you guys are saying. Yeah, this one's gonna be short and sweet. There is a conversation, if you didn't know, on Discord all the time, so you can always join in on that conversation and kind of comments or questions that you have. I've been thinking about starting a Discord to expand out and allow more people to ask more questions and stuff, because this has actually been pretty useful. So I might do that, but we'll see. We shall see. Where are the comments at? Chat box, there it is. It's crazy how much stuff is going on lately, man. So much news, so many things happening right lately. All right, why did that? Okay, let me move this over here. There we go. See the chats. There we go. That should do it right there. The chat's right there. Hey, Mr. Mike T. Man, what's up? I'm just reading some comments, going through comments, questions, complaints from the site. Let me see. Cost of living in Philippines. This video gets a lot of comments. A lot of comments on this one right here. Let me see. Hi, thank you for the video. I live in England with my girlfriend, and our daughter lives there in the Philippines. My girlfriend and our daughter. Oh, I live in England. My girlfriend and our daughter live in the Philippines. I was looking for property to buy over there for us and a place to call home for both of them, as they live in overcrowded accommodation at her mom and dad's. So I know they are both safe while I'm back here. Okay. By the way, relax and breathe. I can hear you sometimes straining to get your words out in English. It's fine. Thanks for the video. Let me see. So I can't recommend anything. I don't live there. I don't have enough knowledge, but what you could do, search for Yuri's sister. For Yuri's sister on YouTube. She might be okay with giving you advice. She's still active on YouTube. Her name is Purple Shadow. If you guys didn't know, Purple Shadow actually has a real estate license, I think. Has connections over there if you're trying to get a condo, or your girl's trying to get property or something like that, or trying to find some places around there. Then you can contact Purple Shadow. She'll help you out if she wants to. Just go check her channel. She's Purple Shadow. Let me see here. African American DNA test. Oh, okay. So damn. So neither you nor your mom met your father. That sucks. I don't know what he means by that. Don't know what you mean by that, buddy. I don't believe, if I said that in the video, I misspoke. Some Filipinos would rather stay ignorant and poor and be dedicated to silly public opinion. Talking about black and Asian couples, discrimination in the Philippines. There's like some colorism stuff in the Philippines. I wouldn't say it's not the same as here, whereas like a whole group of people trying to suppress a whole nother group of people. It's more like just colorism, you know, I don't, and if you have money there, nobody cares what we look like or what color you are or anything. The most valuable color there is not white, it's green. Like if you have money, then you can do whatever the hell you want there. I mean, simple as that. T. Gray said Asian women are the most beautiful women on God's green earth. J.A. says, which one is this one? Do Filipinos like black guys? Okay. This one gets controversial sometimes, from time to time. It gets very racial. Very racial. Let me see. They said, I would say that your description area is both wrong and right, mostly wrong. My observation are as follows. And remember, these are observations, not opinions. Filipinos from mid to lower class families, WHT, I don't know what that means. Filipinos with low to no low middle class will date a black guy so long as they're friends. You know, I disagree with this. That's a generalization which a lot of people tend to make based on their own personal life observations. And damn, what happened to my, there it is. Yeah, it just depends. It depends. Like I know, there's some Filipinos who we know who are very poor and married white guys, and some that we know that are well off and doing okay and married Filipino Americans here, married black guys here. It just depends on what the Filipino or the Filipino wants. You know, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. What do you want? Like, what kind of relationship did you establish with that person? Really, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. You know, I'm not saying your observations are wrong or whatever. You know, you're entitled to your observations, your opinion, how you see life. I can't dispute what you saw with your own eyes, but that's just, you know, my observation. So, all right, Code Drones, man, your site is blowing up lately. How you doing, man? Ronald Bowen says Philippines like anything from the West. Filipinas like anything from the West. You think so? Good evening, Bruce, Mr. Mike T. Man. Hey, everybody. Yeah, if you guys didn't know, Mr. Art Code Drone Solutions does lives and everything. Check him out. Check out his channel. Good stuff. Talks about drone technology. Ed says everyone from Sacramento. Hello, everyone from Sacramento. Ed, you're from what part of Sacramento are you from? I saw you on another live I did, and you said you were from Sacramento. What part? Are you from South Sacramento too? Like 916 area code? Yeah, that's where I was brought up. Know a lot about that area. Haven't been home in a while. I mean, it's really not home anymore, to be honest with you. But yeah, I haven't been back. California, I don't know how people live there. I don't really know how people live in California. It's too crowded for me. You know, it's not. I get some people saying that, you know, they moved out of there because it's. I've heard, it's too liberal or whatever. I would say Colorado's more liberal than California. Colorado's way more liberal, for example, with guns. way more liberal with LGBTQ. Way more liberal with how you live your life. They leave you alone, let you live your life. It's way more open and free in Colorado than it is in California. And the reason why is because Colorado only has 5 million people. Colorado has 5 million people. California has 30 million people. It's like a country. So it's a lot more stuff going on, a lot more stuff to figure out. Ed said McKinley Park. Yeah, McKinley Park, huh? Yeah, I'm close to that area, or I grew up somewhere near that vicinity. Yep, from Sacramento, the bad part of Sacramento. If you the south Sac, it's always the south side. It was really bad when I was growing up there. Really bad. I have lots of horror stories you wouldn't even believe. During the Ronald Reagan era, the crack epidemic, Ronald Reagan era. Ed said, I agree with you about Colorado. Man, I was surprised. I mean, Colorado is... Check it out. Okay, so first off, Colorado has an openly gay governor, right? The last governor of Colorado legalized marijuana. It was either him or the one before him. Legalized marijuana for recreational use. One of the first states. I don't think it's the first state, but it's one of the first states to do it. Now they're trying to make it to decriminalize psilocybin, magic mushrooms. What else have they done? It's pretty common to see people walking around with open carry weapons. It's not even a big deal here. Yeah, it's way more open and free here. It just is, man. I mean, what I do miss about California is the mixture is way more mixed in Colorado. California rather. California, you can see Asian people here and there. You know, you could see Indian people here and there. in Colorado, it's like 80% white, so you don't see a lot of. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying it's not. I'm used to seeing more variety of humans, and then with that variety, you have more variety of food. You have a whole Filipino community in Sacramento. You have a whole Chinese and Japanese community there. It's just nice to see, and it's nice to. Then they'll throw like different local community functions where they'll invite everybody and people bring food, and you can just get introduced to all these different cultures that I'm really used to that. So Colorado's kind of a culture shock in that area because there's just not that much other cultures and stuff here, and it'll be nice to have more cultures. And it's changing, but it's just going to take a while. Ronald says, I tried to tell them different than they think all guys from America are rich. I keep trying to tell them no, but I guess compared to the majority we are, but they are some very rich Filipinos. Oh, Ronald, you're referring to how Filipinos think that they like everything here from the West. Yeah, on this channel, I've tried to warn Filipinos, or really not just Filipinos, but people from all over the world that, hey, listen, you got to be careful. There's a lot of there's some unsafe situations here in the U.S. and I'm only speaking from people who I've met as we were helping people to transition from other countries to here, or people would tell us about their relationships and some of the issues that have happened. And the main problem is a lot of times, not just from the Philippines, but from Kenya, from Sudan, from South America, from all over. People come here with a different expectation of what they think America is and how they think Americans are. And the main thing that I want to impress upon them is that you're not always safe here. Like, you got to make sure the person you're with is supportive of you and protecting you. And we've met a couple of Filipinos who were abused here, unfortunately, who are abused or abandoned or neglected, or you name it. Like, we have some crazy stories. And then one of the worst stories happened right here, where it's very close to where we live, where a Filipina just disappeared. And I don't know if the local law enforcement is doing anything about it. She's gone. She disappeared over a year ago now. And she came here on a K-1 visa, got married to some dude, and then their relationship didn't work out. And then next thing you know, she's disappeared off the face of the earth. And of course, the first suspect is going to be the husband, but nothing came of that. The guy moved to another state, and the police haven't released any other information on it. It's just a really sad. If you want to look it up, it's Jepsi Amaga, which we've talked about her a couple times on this channel. Very sad situation. So what I tell Filipinos is, like, listen, it's the streets aren't paved in gold here. I think that one of the good things about our current situation is people are now seeing some of the flaws, the huge flaws with Americans and with America, with all the stuff that's going on with the immigrant situation on the south of the border and in our economy and how we're dealing with COVID. You can clearly see huge failures, and it gives people a more realistic view of what's happening here in America, rather than just kind of thinking that you're going to come here and create a company that's going to go, make $1 billion or whatever. It's just not always like that. Hey, Wallace Life, how you doing? Yeah, so I always try to educate folks, especially new people coming here. Like take your time. Even guys too. Like, it goes both ways. Like, a lot of times we're talking to guys, hey, watch out for those scammers and stuff. But it goes both ways. Like for Filipinos and for foreigners coming here, I always tell them, like, make sure whoever is sponsoring you is protecting you, is taking care of you, because not everybody can. Not every man you meet is capable of protecting anyone. they're not an adult. There's a lot of grown children. A lot of grown children. You guys know what I'm talking about. Like they're 50 years old, but they act like they're 12. There's a lot of grown ass boys. There's a lot of grown ass little girls. There's a lot of, and then our system kind of allows that to happen. So you got to stay safe. And I always tell them, like, listen, don't rush. I know you want to come here and you have these visions of you and your partner doing well and stuff and all that, but you have to take your time, because if the person if the person doesn't have your best interest in their heart, then it can go really bad. And we've seen it go really bad. So, from them trying to take away your green card or threatening you or talking down to you like you're stupid, or treating you like you're some kind of a servant, or just all kinds of stuff, up to people just disappearing. Nobody knows what happened to Jepsi and Amaga. Nobody knows. It's up in the air, but she's been gone for a year. So what does that tell you? I mean, worst case scenario, she's no longer with us, But even if you consider what the husband said, what he said was, oh, she left with some guy. That's the last I heard of her. Oh, really? You know what I mean? Like, why would you? It's clear that he didn't protect her. He didn't have the means. He didn't have the psychological. This guy's an ex-Marine too. You would think a Marine is going to protect, his woman, his wife. But nope, that's not what happened. Now she's gone. And then he's like, I don't know, You don't want to be with a guy like that. If you're a Filipino watching this, if you're a foreign, I know a lot of foreign nationals watch us. Be careful. There's some crazy freaking people here in America. Like, just watch what's going on here. Well, how do you think that happened? How do you think we're in this situation? There's people who are not all there here, who believe crazy stuff over facts, over science. They have a cell phone in their hand, which is created with science, but they don't believe in vaccines. You know what I mean? Like, there's some people who are not all there here. I don't know what else to say. I'm trying to, I always try to play both sides and whatever. But in this case, it's very clear. It's people here who are not all. We have a huge mental health issue here in the U.S. Huge. It's very big and it's being ignored. It's not all good here. So just make sure if you come to the U.S., make sure you're with somebody who you are sure is going to protect you. The only way that you can be certain is with time and observing and living with them a little bit, like have them come there for as long as they can, live in the same place, observe that person. Don't rush into any relationships, because that's one of the biggest mistakes that both Americans and foreign nationals make, is to rush into something and neither one of you are ready, or one of you is not ready. Forget about the most extreme case of somebody just disappearing or getting hurt or getting abused or something like that. Extreme cases. Just think about, like, you guys might not even be compatible. Take your time. This is what I'm saying. Roland says, yes, the safe situation. I know I've seen Filipinos taken advantage of. Also, I think it's because they are a trusting, giving type of people. I just love their ways. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, some, especially some of them that come from the province, who are not worldly. They don't have that worldly Manila, that natural mistrust that you have to have around certain people, right? They want, and then sometimes they're younger, so that combination of things makes it so that you're susceptible to some real bad situations, which we have seen, So we've seen all kinds of stuff, divorces, abuse, runaways, all kinds of things. Let me see. Roland says, the Filipinos I've met have been taught that from an early age that America, you can't do any better than the USA. My Filipina told me since she was little, she wanted to marry an American man. Yeah, and I don't even think that, like, what blows my mind about that mentality is that Canada is pretty dope. You know what I mean? Like Canada, Australia, England, like there's different options out there for you. You don't have to rush. And then there are great American partners that you can find, but just all I'm saying is take your time. That's all I'm saying. Bruce, have a 5-year plan. Yes, a great, yeah, exactly. Have a 5-year plan. And Wallace Life says, United States can be a stressful place. Yeah, and that's the one thing that doesn't seem to be translated through movies and all the pop culture that's sent overseas, is that the average American here is a lower middle class person, and we're, a lot of us are struggling financially. And nowadays you got to have more than one. You got to have more than one income just to survive. And it's just because our cost of living is just growing. This is all coming from somebody who loves the United States. I love this. I love what this country can be, but it definitely has. For us to ignore the problems we have is not going to get any better if we try to ignore it. And so I always try to manage people's expectations. And the thing is, it could be bad. It could be bad for you here, but if you have a good partner, if you took your time and have a solid partner who's got your back, you guys can make it through together. You know what I mean? Like, Yuri and I have some huge challenges here. Huge challenges that I don't really talk about. I don't really go into some of the stuff we went through. But, because we have each other's back, we were able to get through it together, back to back, me and my wife against the world. So if you have a good partner, you can get through it. But even with all the stuff happening, with the U.S. right now, or if you have a tough financial situation, you can get through. If you get somebody solid who is willing to work with you, you guys are willing to grow together. You guys are willing to weather storms together. But the only way to know if that person's willing to do those things is to give it time. Give your relationship time to breathe. Give it time to grow. Water it. Let it have some sun. Give it time to grow so that you can have somebody who's solid on your team. Roland says her grandmother told her that if she married an American that she would eat every day, and she said that American men will honor them and will not run around on them, and like Filipino men does often. And again, it really depends on the guy. I mean, you know what I'm saying, Roland, right? you know what I'm saying. It depends on the guy, because we unfortunately have met some people who they got married. The Filipina came over here and the guy started running around on her. I don't know why you would spend all that time, money, and energy in a long distance relationship, get him here, and then start messing around on him. I don't understand that, but it happens. It has happened. Now it's rare. It is rare, but it does happen. And then, and in some of the better situations where there was infidelity, they were able to work it out. But all I'm saying is take your time, make sure you have a solid person on your team, and you develop trust for that person, trust in them to do the right thing, trust in them to have your better interest overall, regardless of what mistakes that are made. When you have that solid person there, you guys can get through anything together. That's my whole point. Let me see. Roland says, if you will take a look around in the Philippines, you will see a hell of a lot of young single moms with children where Filipino men hit and run. Yeah, and I would add to that. One of the things that I noticed was that the government itself doesn't have laws in place, or at least they're not enforced. They may have laws for like deadbeat dads or whatever. I'm sure they do, but they're not really enforced. There's no laws for that. There's no and then of course, you know, you can't get a divorce, right? Which is not cool. Like they don't have, okay, let's count them up. So abortion is illegal. So like a guy does a hit and run with you. You guys have a kid, the guy runs off, he's with 2 or 3 other women. Now you're 3 weeks pregnant. You know what I mean? What now? There's no abortion. So divorce. You got married too young. You got married at 19 years old, 18 years old to some guy, and the guy's running around on you and you haven't seen him in years, but you can't get divorced. There's no divorce. Child support, like, you know, forget about alimony, child support. You have 2 kids with some dude, 3 kids with some dude. The dude's running around all over the place, and you have the kids, and he's not. He kind of gives you some money every now and then, but he's, for the most part, he's not around, and you have to figure out a way to feed the kids. Like, there's 3 things right there where all that falls right in her lap. So yeah, I would agree with you there, Roland, about what really the laws are the biggest thing. Because if they enforced it so that you had to pay, they tracked the dude down, like, listen, you got 3 kids over here, you are entitled to pay X amount a month. People would think twice. Just like here in the U.S., guys think twice about it, you know, about having a kid, because they'll take your passport away if you don't pay. Mr. Mike T. Man says, America is the greatest country in the world, but also the greatest country for propaganda. People coming from other countries think and desire for the grass to be greener on the other side in the USA. And that reminds me of this one video I was watching. This dude, Valuetainment, you probably heard of it before, but the dude is an immigrant from Iran, and he was interviewing a American citizen who defected from North Korea. Worth a watch. Worth watching. So you might have, I can't remember her name, but there hasn't been that many who have. She wrote a book, and it's actually like it was a bestseller for some time. But she was a North Korean who escaped. Her father died. She escaped with her mom and all kinds of stuff. They went through China and stuff, and then ended up in South Korea, and then eventually ended up here in the U.S. And they were just chit-chatting. And the way that immigrants see America is totally different, especially coming from a place like Iran or North Korea. They see, a whole they see America in a totally different light than the average person born here does, which I've always admired. I admire that they take advantage of all things we take for granted. But yeah, that's a really good video to watch, even whether you agree with them or not. Hey Andy, how you doing? Let me see here. He says, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I cannot remember her name. I was thinking about checking out her book. It's just a sad story. But Valuetainment, if you want to find that video, go to YouTube, type Valuetainment, and then North Korea, and then you'll see an interview with that North Korean lady who apparently is now an American citizen, and they're talking about how they feel about socialism and how Americans are trying to become socialists and stuff. That kind of is skewed, that stuff that they're talking about, because our healthcare issue needs some help. But their overall thoughts on the U.S. is really cool. is amazing to see that perspective. Roland says, yes, I know what you're talking about. There are sorry men in every nationality, every color out there. You know what? Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. No, I don't think that there's any laws for child support in the Philippines, and no divorce, only annulment, and that doesn't happen often. Is largely Catholic ruled country. Yes. The Wallace Life says, I think that there should be 2 months of a year that every working person gets 100% of their hard-earned breakbacking hourly pay. This would probably relieve a little bit of our stress. I think there should be 2 months of a year that every person gets bagging. Yeah, there should be, like, one thing that's like the companies that I've worked at that had a good leave, a good vacation time, like a solid month of vacation time. Like, one of the things about the military, as hard as it was, you got 30 days a year off. And when you have that much time off a year, that really helps. Let me see. Mr. NC Biggs, how you doing? Let me see here. Who else we got going on here? You were talking about the defector woman. She has a YouTube. Yeah. There's a couple. I don't know if we're talking about the same one. There's a couple who actually have done speeches like all over. So their faces. One of them, she's very pretty. She looks like a model. The one I'm talking about. There's like 2 of them, but one of them really, really looks good. And she's the one I'm talking about. Let me see here. Mr. Mike T. Man says, there's a law for child support in the Philippines, but they aren't enforced. Besides, how can you get blood from a turnip? He's saying if you don't have money, how you gonna get that? True. They got some real problems in the Philippines. Have some real problems. We have problems, but it's not on the same scale as the Philippines, and India and some of the other developing, emerging countries out there. That was a huge wake-up call for me when I was in the military, going to those developing countries that I'll never forget, and I definitely appreciate everything I've been given, even being grown up poor. In this country, doesn't compare to what I saw in the Philippines or in Afghanistan. The worst situation I ever seen was in Afghanistan by far. Wallace Life says, I mean 2 months of a year that you pay, that your pay does not get taxed. That's not a bad idea, actually. It's not a bad idea. I would say what I wish that more politicians, more leaders, any politician would do is to teach Americans, not politicians, but our system. I wish our system was better at teaching financial intelligence to common citizens. We live in an ultra capitalistic society that doesn't teach its citizens how to budget, how the FICO score system works, how to create businesses, how to, I wish personally that there was more education and more of a push for, if this is the direction we're going to go and we're going to be ultra capitalistic and there's not going to be healthcare for all, there's not going to be, you're going to put people in debt, stuff like that. It's on us to become smarter about how to navigate this system. And we can't expect the government to, but I just wish we had a government that cared enough to take that extra step to start educating people on what they really need to know, which is budgeting and marketing yourself and creating other businesses, side income, side hustles, create incentives to invest, and to incentives to, instead of discouraging people from doing things that are financially going to make them more stable. It just seems like if we had more education, more stability, more of our government trying to help people who don't know. I mean, me coming from being very, very poor, I just didn't know about investing. I just didn't know until I went to the military. I just didn't know, about how to start businesses and all that kind of stuff. And, and the thing is, like, people like Bill Gates, who's brilliant, by the way, but he was born into a family that knew all that stuff. So they were already investors. I think his father was like the CEO of or chairman of the board of some airline company or something like that. Like, they already know, like, the rich already know and how to groom their kids and stuff. I just wish the U.S. That's one of the things I liked about Andrew Yang, is Andrew Yang was talking about that kind of stuff. I'm like, damn, he's right. He's really right. Like, if this is the direction we're gonna go, like, we got to take care of our own people. Let me see here. Ronald says, okay, fellows, I've enjoyed the talk in the evening. Gotta go. All right, man, you take it easy, bro. Mike T. Man says, the North Korean defector is Yeonmi Park, now a prominent voice in America for human rights around the world. Yeah, that might be her. There was another one too. There's two of them that have a very loud voice, have written books, and they speak all over the world and stuff like that. And one of them's an American citizen, and I had no idea she was an American citizen. And he says Park, 24, fled Kim Jong-il's North Korea with her family in 2007. Oh, Kim Jong-un. Yeah. In 2007, and survived the harrowing 2-year trek to freedom that involved. Yep, that's her. Yep, that's the one. That's the one I'm talking about. Really bad, really, really horrible things that she had to witness and go through, and she got human trafficked and all kinds of stuff. It's really hard. The first time I heard the story, I freaking cried. I freaking cried. The first time I heard the story was on she did a TED Talk, I think it was a TED Talk, and she was just talking about all the stuff she went through. It's brutal, man. It's hard to watch. It's hard to watch. But the North Korean stuff that's going on is something I every now and then I'll just binge watch documentaries and stuff that's going on with defectors, and I'm just very interested in that, because I think that's one of the worst human tragedies that's going on right now today, and in a way it's worse than what happened in Nazi Germany, because this has been going on for many, many years, and they have multiple death camps, and for the most part the world just kind of turns a blind eye and lets them do all these crazy things to these people and stuff, and the people are completely brainwashed. It's a very sad story, and if you the more you dig into it, the more you realize, wow, this is one of the worst tragedies in human history. Let me see. The Korean Girls channel is Voice of North Korea. Oh yeah. I think I'm subscribed to her Instagram. They have an Instagram too, where they talk about more of the positive things of people escaping and people living their life and adapting to new, to South Korea, and adapting to other countries they're in, and the effort to give voice to the North Korean people. Ronald says, yes, man, I agree. Financial stability equals freedom. Amen, Ronald. This man knows. This man knows. One of the best books on financial freedom is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Exactly. That was one of the first books I read that set me on this path to have multiple streams of income. And since then, some other stuff that I've read, 10X by Grant Cardone is really good. Anything by Grant Cardone is really good. He's pretty out there, but he's got some really good, really inspiring stuff. But his 10X book is really good. Gary V is really good, especially if you're doing online marketing, online content. Can make you money, by the way. Gary V talks about it. Another guy who a lot of people on here might really like. In fact, I'm going to show you guys. This guy right here, if you're into business or into stuff I'm talking about here, then this right here is going to be, this guy is somebody you want to check out. He's on YouTube, and lately he's been killing. But this dude It's called Savage Finance. And this dude right here talks about establishing credit, talks about behaviors for having wealth, having multiple streams of income, how to start LLCs, how to build up your credit from zero. He talks about Savage Finance. He's got other channels too, and he also breaks down how he's able to get six figures off of YouTube. And this dude right here, just following some of the stuff that this dude has done. Michael Savage. No, not Michael Savage. not Michael Savage. This is Glenn. This dude's name is Glenn Cameron. So really good stuff. His financial stuff is some of the best information I've gotten. And tells you how to do things. It's not just theory. So what you do is just go to his very first video and just start watching from there. Great. I've been watching this guy for years, and now I've started copying what he does, and it works. It really works, by the way. Yeah, this guy's awesome. Glenn Cameron, Savage Finance. He's got another one called Kung Fu Hustle. He's got another one called Disruptive Male. He's got like several other channels that he's been building for many, many years. He's got great information. You might not agree with everything. I don't agree with some of the political stuff he says or whatever. But the thing is, that's not the point. The point is his financial knowledge is on a different level, and he's incredible. Michael Savage, Savage Nation. You might not agree with a lot of him, but he's a very smart guy. That guy, Michael Savage, is an insane bastard. I know exactly what you're talking about. I used to listen to him, and he just goes too far. He's just I don't like him at all. Not at all. I do not like Michael Savage. He's out of his mind. He is out of his mind. Just my 2 cents. He's pretty smart on like nutrition, and if he keeps it clean, if he's talking about nutrition and plants and stuff like that, he's brilliant on that stuff. He's got really deep knowledge on that. You know what I'm talking about, Ronald. But his political views couldn't be further from how I feel, how I believe, and how I've been raised, and how he's a very good example of. I've met a lot of guys like him in IT, like very brilliant people who are insane, who are crazy, who are out of their minds. He's like reminds me of somebody like, who's a good example, who's very smart but just out there. Ben Shapiro is another one. He's a smart dude. Like I think he's smart, but some of the stuff he says is just like, what? What are you talking about? There's other guys. I'm trying to think of other dudes who are like this, there's some dudes who are not smart, who say a lot of stuff. They're not smart at all. But Ben Shapiro, I'll say he's a smart dude. I don't agree with nothing he says, but I can see why he believes how he is, why he believes how he does, and that's fine. I can agree to disagree, but yeah, Michael Savage is a nut case. Don't Google him. Don't Google him. Let me see if I've missed anything. Let me see. Andy says, I subbed to her weeks ago. She released a lot of information about Korea that surprised me in her vlogs. Oh, I didn't know she did vlogs. I gotta check that out. The Korean girl Yeonmi, or whatever, often changes her story from what I've read, but she has been through quite a bit over there. She was almost part of his pleasure squad. I don't know. I mean, every time I've seen her story, it's the same. It's the same story. It's the same. It's been the same story. Like, essentially what has happened. I don't know what part of it would have changed, but the essential story of how she escaped and her father dying, having her bury her own father, and then becoming enslaved in China, and all that is remained the same. It's the same story she told. I mean, some of it I could see why she might have changed the story if it was going to hurt somebody who's still living in North Korea, or some of the defectors who are in China who are in danger all the time of becoming trafficked. So I can see why she might have changed some of those parts of the story to protect people who are still living through this nightmare. So, but for the most part, the story that I've seen, Andy, has remained the same. Andy says, sex worker for Kim Jong-un. Man, I binge documentaries as well. Yeah, man. Every now, like those ones right there in particular, North Korea. Every now and then, I just. It's so fascinating that a whole country can become brainwashed like that, and it's fascinating that we've kind of just ignore it. Like we just kind of ignore it, like it's not even happening. It's fascinating. It's terrifying. It's sad. It says a lot about humanity. It's ugly. I wish that wasn't the case, but that's the world we live in. One of the harsh realities. Wallace Life says, very, very hard to get ahead when all your income is taxed multiple times. Even your side hustle, they want half. Wallace Life, what I did, one of the things that you might want to look at is check out Savage Finance, Rich Dad Poor Dad, 10X, Grant Cardone. One of the things that they talk about is what you're explaining, which is taxes. And we're not talking about evading taxes. What they talk about is using taxes like the rich do. Like for example, Amazon don't pay much taxes. One time Warren Buffett was explaining how he pays less taxes than his secretary, who makes $28,000 a year. Warren Buffett's one of the richest people on earth. And you got to wonder how is that possible? How are they able to legally not pay as much taxes as the average middle to lower middle class person? There's a way. I could tell you a little bit, but I'm not the person to really go super deep. I can tell you what we've done, and this is not official tax advice or anything like that. But one of the things I learned from this dude right here, and Robert Kiyosaki, who did Rich Dad Poor Dad, and Grant Cardone, is the wealthy the way that they don't pay taxes is by setting up corporate structures, such as you can really do something about you can really do it with a sole proprietor or an LLC when you start off, when you're a beginner like us. And there's a lot of tax write-offs that you can do at the end of the year that give you money back. Like if, for example, you and your wife have the balloon business, right? Let's say it's called Asawa Balloons, right? So you guys, whenever you guys do it, you guys use your car to drive to the location. You had to buy the materials, all the balloons. You had to buy the framing for the balloons. You had to drive to the location. All of those things that you did, all those expenses on your business are write-offs. Now, I'm not a tax advisor. I just want you to look into it. So there's so many different stuff in the tax code that allow you to write off stuff at the end of the year. That's all I'm saying. And then you end up getting some of that money back. You don't necessarily have to do a corporation. You could just do a sole proprietorship, or you can do an LLC. But all those things at the end of the year can be used as tax write-offs. So if you use TurboTax will walk you through what we do is we'll pay the extra money for TurboTax. First off, we have an EIN. We're registered in the state of Colorado as a business. And then what we do is all of our expenses, like if I go and buy, I don't know, printer ink or something like that, and we're going to use 100% of that printer ink for our business because we need it to write books or whatever, right? Those are all tax write-offs. Another huge tax write-off we have is like hosting. Like I do a lot of stuff online, so I have to pay these hosting fees with HostGator or with Bluehost or whatever, DreamHost or whatever hosting, and it's like hundreds of dollars a year, and I can write off that, and that reduces my taxable income, and so I get a certain amount back, And then another thing we do to offset the cost of taxes is that we have multiple streams of income, and when you have these different incomes coming in, it really helps, right? And then on top of that, we're recording everything we're doing. We're doing, it's all legal. It's in the tax code. There's just a certain thing you have to do. If for example, if you are say purchasing gas for your business to drive the balloons to a certain client, you can write off a certain percentage of your mileage, and I believe your gas, one or the other, and you just have to keep the receipts. For mileage, you have to keep how much of the driving you did for that year that you use for your business, and that's also a tax write-off. If you have a home office, if there's a place in your house, like say 10% of your house is used for your business, like this room here, I only use this room for recording. That's it. I use it for recording. I use it for creating videos for courses. That's it. That's all I use it for. So 10%, this is say 10% of my home. I can write off this 10% of my home off on my taxes and stuff. So my point is there's things that you can do to offset the amount of taxes that you have, but just do your own research on it. Check out Rich Dad Poor Dad. He talks a little bit about it. Check out Grant Cardone, 10X book. And then there's a couple guys online, like I said. Savage Finance talks a little bit about it. This dude right here, check him out. See what he has to say about taxes. And then you can also just Google tax write-offs and see what things that you can do as a sole proprietor or as an LLC or and also you also need to register your business stuff. Just look into it. My point is there's things you can do to offset your taxes. Mike T. Man says, I don't know if that's the right terminology, offset, but Mr. Mike T. Man says deferred taxes can earn interest toward the future. Roland says, that's right, corporations don't pay taxes, consumers do. Yeah. So, you may not agree with the game, with how capitalism is done and all stuff, but we live in a capitalistic society. Like, we got to play the game to beat the game, That's how I feel about it. Like, is it right? I don't know. Like, it's better than what some other countries have. I wish we could do it better. I wish there's a lot of stupid things in capitalism I don't like. But thing is, if we're going to beat this game, we got to beat the game. We got to know the rules of the game. It's like when you're playing Monopoly. Like, if you want to get Boardwalk, you got to know the rules. You know what I mean? You got to know the rules and play those rules and get the cheat code so you can go XXYYBB. That's all the rich are doing. The rich are using those cheat codes. Like, we got to smarter, man. Like, listen, the way I feel about it is nobody's coming to our rescue. All the marching people are doing, even if whoever you want is elected, there's no saviors here. There's just us. We got to do for us, and that's it. Even if there's nothing wrong with praying, but the thing is, the Lord is going to help out people who help themselves. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Like, we have to do for ourselves. Like we are our own. We have to have each other's back, and that's why I do some of these videos is to help people out, because nobody's coming to our rescue, man. No one. Government, not Trump, not Biden, not Obama, nobody. It's us. We got to do for us, and that's not to blame anyone or it doesn't matter. Like, we can sit here and be upset and play the victim, but ultimately what matters is us taking action for our family long term. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to do for ourselves, and one of the first things you got to do is start a business. Look into starting a business and all the things that go into starting a sole proprietorship, an LLC, and then start recording everything you're doing for that business, because a lot of that stuff is write-offs. Then figure out what things are write-offs, and then start keeping receipts. Start making business a separate business account. And then, like, one thing I'm learning right now, I'm in the middle of, is how to start credit on your business, which is what this dude talks about. That takes a while. That's a whole different level. This dude right here, Savage Finance, talks about that very thing. How to build a LLC properly, and then how to get credit on that LLC. Why am I frozen? Am I frozen right now? Man, my internet, man. My kids must be using the internet. Yeah, so I think that's about it, guys. Really enjoyed the conversation. Mr. Mike T. Man says, you also have to realize tax rules are written by rich to benefit the rich. Exactly. Absolutely. And another thing that's happening is that rich people pay off senators, pay off Congress, they have lobbyists. The lobbyists write laws, right? A lobbyist might be like, check this is crazy. So lobbyists would be like for AT&T, right? AT&T is a multi-billion-dollar international company, and let's say that they want lower taxes in the state of North Carolina and Colorado or something, right? Because they're trying to maximize their gains. So what they'll do is they'll write a law. They have people who write the law, and then they propose it to the senators or to Congress and say, hey, here's the law. This will help build businesses with AT&T in these districts, in this district 7 in Colorado, and District 20 in North Carolina, and this right here is going to build 1,000 more jobs in those districts, right? And they'll go straight to they'll go straight to, who's the senator here? They'll go straight to Cory Gardner, or they'll go straight to whoever's in North Carolina and say, look, here it is right here. And then everything's already written for the congressman, right? And then it helps him or her out, because it's going to create 1,000 jobs in their district. So they're like, oh, this is it. This is going to create 1,000 jobs. It's going to bring the AT&T centers here. Yeah, this is it. And they'll propose it on the floor of the House. And but then what's in that law is all these little tax write-offs and all this little stuff that allows them, AT&T, to legally get away with not paying as many taxes, which is what Amazon does, Google does this, Microsoft does it. All the major players do it, man. And so they have an advantage, just like Mr. Mike T. Man just said. They'll write the tax laws for themselves, and then pay off senators and congressmen. It's kind of like a quid pro quo, which they talk about is so bad, but they do it all the time. They do it all the time with companies. So, yeah, man. Ronald says, okay, gotta go. For real now. Okay, man. Later, Ronald. Talk to you later, man. Thanks for the input. Miss NC Big says, Bruce, put your link on your other page, please. Oh, okay. But there's a catch. Now I'm gonna be getting off of here in a minute, but you guys can continue to talk on our live chat if you want. What I could do is just leave this up for a while like I did last time. I don't know how people feel about that. The discussions get pretty crazy. I'm thinking about taking bits of it that aren't too bad and then post them in it as separate content. So it's a great opportunity for you to promote yourself on our channel. I'm just trying different things out. This is one of the things that's great about YuriBruce, is that I'm able to do these kinds of things. Let me see. Let me see if I can share that. Invite people. There we go. Copy. And I'm going to share this link so you guys can come on the Discord. I'll leave the Discord up so whoever wants to get on there and talk can. And then I'll leave it live. We're just going to try this a couple times. I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know if I'll keep doing it. I don't know if people like it or what's going on with it, but we'll just try it out. It doesn't hurt to try it out. Right now I'm just trying to get on this live right here. There's going to be a double voice here in a second. Bear with me. So you guys can come on the Discord. There we go. Okay. I'm trying to find the chat. Where's the chat, man? Okay, there it is. Okay. If you guys want to get on here with me, I'm going to be getting off here real soon. But if you want to get on here, chit chat, promote your own channel, talk a bunch of mess, you can do it. That is it right there. That will bring you to Discord, and people will be able to hear your voice. I'm gonna set that and make sure that they can hear you. Let me see here. There we go. All right. If you're just coming on this late, what I'm doing is I'm about to check out. We've been talking for over an hour, but I'm going to open it up for anybody to talk on Discord. Jump on Discord, go live on this channel. Incriminate yourself about crimes and tax evasion if you want. It's up to you. It's your life. Do you? I won't be mad. Mr. Mike T. Man says, but here's the catch. We don't want to pay taxes. I mean, my thing is about taxes is to have all the stuff we have, to have roads, to have a fire department, to have the police department, to have, zoning laws, public servants, all that stuff takes money. So where's the money come from? It comes from taxes. I don't agree with everything the U.S. does with the money, with local government or federal government does with tax, but for the most part, military is paid with tax dollars. The budget is paid with tax dollars. So it's like a bill. Like, none of us want to do it, but we all want to live in this level of comfort, and that means we have to pay some kind of taxes. What I don't agree with is paying too much taxes. So especially when I am contributing to society on having a business allows you to contribute on a whole different level to this whole infrastructure and everything that we've, I'm able to pay somebody for their work. I'm able to hire people. I'm able to help other people out in a way that a normal employee of AT&T might not be able to do, so they give incentives to business people. Thanks, Bruce. Good stuff. Thanks, man. The Wallace Life says, I'll just tell Uncle Sam that Cedric the Entertainer, I ain't got it, dog. I can put 5 on it. Oh my God. You crazy as hell, man. Mr. Random Variety, how you doing, sir? I still don't have the link to your site, by the way. All right, hold up. Let me see. Let me see if I can. Let's make sure we can hear. Can you hear me? Random? NC? Can you hear me? I see your link lighting up, but I don't hear you. So I think. Okay. Wallace Life, if you're still here, can you hear us talking on? Can you hear NC talking on the Discord channel? Oh, he just jumped off. It might be me, Random. It might be me, because all my stuff is hooked up on another software. It's being fed through this software, so that might be what's going on. Oh my God, Discord not. Okay, there we go. Can you hear me now? Yes, I hear and see you, Bruce. Do you hear the? There should be two of us. Wallace Life. Do you hear two of us talking? Random, I still can't hear you. I gotta get this down, man. Every week I'm going through this. Every week. I mean, I had it all set up, but I had switched to another computer, which means a whole nother ball game. Still can't hear you. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna disconnect myself, and then see if that'll work. I hear one person, and that's you. Okay, let me try something. Let me try something. How's this gonna work out here? Okay, I'm gonna disconnect. Might be like last time, maybe. If you guys didn't know, this is the Discord channel. And you can see NC Biggs, Big Truck Series, Mr. Worldwide. We just talk about stuff, throughout the week. It's nice. Give each other information and stuff. So you can join it if you like and get on there and talk anytime. The link is in the chat if you want to join it. You don't have to. If you don't want to show your face or if you don't want us to hear your voice, you can go to any one of these. Right now, we're talking on the Yuri Discord right here, and this is not voice, so this is just us chatting back and forth about stuff. So feel free to join. All right, let me get back into this room here. Okay, nope, I'm still not hearing you, Random. Let's fix this. Let's fix this live. How can we fix this? But they can't hear you, so that's what's weird. They can't hear you. Okay, let's do this. Let's go here and look at... It's because I switched to another computer. Voice. Test. Okay. Output. Let's change the output right here. Test. Random, you hear me now? Wait, hold on. Let me get out of this. I'm going to go back in. So the way this works is it allows you to set up a server. That server's on all the time. And then you can set up channels that allows you to have voice chats, video chats, all kinds of stuff. Yuri is texting me right now. Yes. And that is Discord in a nutshell. Great for interacting with people, each other. Let's see here. Let me go back here. See if this thing's working. Test. Nope, not working. The reason mine's not working is because I got all these crazy other stuff going on in the background. So I gotta figure out how to make all that stuff work together every week, and then I'll switch it to another computer, so that doesn't help. All right, let me see. I'm gonna do. Okay, I already tried this one. I got a feeling it's this, but I'll try this first. Try that first. Test. Testing. Nope, still can't hear you. Cannot hear you. All right, you're gonna get back in, and then we'll test it again. Nope. All right, let me try something else. It's got to be my end. Something I'm doing wrong. Let me see. Back to this. And speaker. Test.
I'm here.
Yeah, there we go. Now I hear you. Now, can everybody else hear you? Let's see.
I don't know. I'm not even actually on the channel right now.
Let me type to these guys.
I don't know if they can hear me.
Can you guys hear both of us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear myself. Yeah.
Cool. It works.
Yeah, I can hear both. I just actually wanted to make sure everything was still working and everything. I don't have much topics going on today, Bruce, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I hear you.
I just wanted to kind of like come in and just speak to you real quick. I didn't get a chance to hear your basically the rundown, but I do know about Glenn Camry because I've actually bought his products before. So
how are they? I've been thinking about buying them.
He's probably even better than he used to be. I bought him like in 2015, but his products are pretty much for you. You might want to get the advanced stuff because the standard stuff, like the standard programs, they probably won't do you any good because you've already started businesses and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But some of his packages are pretty decent. I mean, they give some good details on things that you need to know.
Okay.
So you know that's pretty much what I would say. I'd say it's all right. I mean, if I don't know how good it is now, but 2015 it does motivate you, and he does give examples on things you could do, but he kind of leaves it open for you to make your own decisions and kind of push yourself to do what you want to do. You know?
Yeah. Somebody asked, who's that speaking? That's NC Biggs, aka Variety Random.
Random Verity.
Random Verity. My bad.
Variety Random.
I don't know why I switched that around.
You know, one day, Bruce, I would love for you to give me your critique on my channel, just to tell me what I do.
Man, what's your channel, man? I'll look it up right now. Get some.
Random Verity. Random Verity.
Let me see. Okay, I'm gonna type it in. Random.
Yeah, I put a lot of.
Verity. Oh, there you go. Okay, finally found it. Nice. Celebrity topics. Oh man, you heard about this Isaiah dude? This was local. This happened here. This kid showed a gun on a live stream for class, and then the class called the cops on him. Cops showed up at the house. Yeah, I'll check it out, man. I'll check it out.
I just started, so I'm a fairly new YouTuber. So I've been just trying to figure out if I need to pick an exact topic. See, like with your channel has both your channels have exact topics. And part of my problem is I'm kind of random with my stuff. And so,
yeah,
hence the random.
What I noticed was like YuriBruce actually is all over the place. Like we talk about relationship stuff, visa stuff, and then it just goes off and whatever, right? But what we notice is like the stuff that does really good is when people have a need and then you just make content about that need. Like the other channel I have is Convo Courses, and it just talks about computer stuff because people kept asking me about it, and I just happened to be in this space, so I was like, here's what I know, and it does really good. That site doesn't have as many subscribers or anything like that, but the number of the people have a need, and they're constantly wanting me to give more information on it. So it does financially, it does way better than YuriBruce, even though it has 6,000 subscribers, but YuriBruce has 20,000. So it's way.
Subscribers don't mean anything.
Nah, they don't exactly. It's all about the views. It's all about the watch time and how active people are. And that channel has for the amount of people it has is way more active in a way that's deeper and more meaningful. So it's yeah.
I gotta master that because I started doing my YouTube basically because, but I mean a lot of like I told you before, you're a big inspiration to part of the reason why I even started a channel. One of the many people, yeah. So
yeah, that's cool, man. Just keep going with it, man. And I mean, do you like doing it?
Yeah, I really like the interview parts more so than anything. Like just talking to people.
Yeah.
Doing videos by myself is actually a lot more work because I have nobody to interact with. So I'm interacting with the situation or the subject.
Right.
And that can be kind of a tough thing. But if I got people I can interact with, and I haven't decided to do lives, but if I can get people I can interact with, then it's actually a lot better.
I hear you.
Yeah, I've watched you do your thing, and I mean it was always cool because you and Yuri had the interaction a lot when y'all did the interaction on Yuri and Bruce.
Yeah,
it was really cool because you both had the interaction, so you had somebody to work with. Plus, then if Yuri had somebody else that she was talking to, she had somebody to interact with. So it was just always somebody to interact with, and that makes the videos easier and smoother, and you get two different opinions at the same time. So people really enjoy the back and forth.
What I realize is like certain people respond to certain kinds of video. So we use YuriBruce as kind of like a testing ground. We'll just try different things out. And the interviews do okay. Like I did an interview with Amores Del Caribe, and that one video did pretty good. But the reason why is because the topic was about finding a Dominican wife. So that did, and he just gave his own experience about it, and that one did okay. So some people respond to those kinds, and then most of the people on YuriBruce anyway respond to the videos that Yuri will do where she'll break down a certain topic about the Philippines. Those ones do good every time. And that's just her winging it, like her just having an outline and then turn the camera on and then talking. And those have done really, really good.
Well, I mean, yeah, a lot of people probably like her opinion because she's from another country and people are very interested in that country.
Yes. So those kill, man. Like those, we had to take a few of them down after people freaked out. But I'll tell you
that's my favorite one is the one that y'all took down.
It's sad. A lot of people's favorite one, by the way. A lot of people. Exactly. Those secrets, man.
Those secrets definitely helped out, man.
Those secrets, man. They didn't want those secrets out. Like, how dare you? It was, yeah, man. But yeah, that really helped a lot of people. So, but that's one of them. There's a few other ones where it's just her talking that people like. Like there's one with cost of living, and then there's one where it's her and I talking. We're talking about jealousy. That one does really good. But yeah, certain people liked certain things. And then there's a couple that all we did was just walk people through, no face, no nothing, just a voice and just walking through how to fill out a form. And those do okay too.
I remember y'all did a few interviews about like how to deal with a situation. Those were pretty good too. Like, y'all would ask, like Yuri would give like her opinion on what to do again in that relationship. Those were really good. I remember those.
Yeah, we had some fun with some of those. Like some of those were we met some real cool people doing those. Are you?
Bro, you gave me hope, man. Because when I first, excuse my son. He's having a nice little conversation with himself right now. Yeah. Can you just be quiet for a second?
He's trying to talk.
Okay.
Let that man talk.
So, when you did the videos, when you were doing the videos, and I saw, I was like, a black guy got a black guy's with an Asian woman that's out of the country. I was like, it's possible. It's possible. And you had kids, so I was like, yes, he has kids too. It's even better. It's getting better and better for me every second. I was like, I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. I was like, okay, maybe I can do this. But then what really got me, because a lot of people gave me that they're trying to get the money and stuff. That really did it for me. Like you gave me a lot of hope in that aspect, because when the way you and Yuri's relationships, I've told you this 1,000 times already, but your relationship is awesome. So because it's so awesome, that's why I got a lot of respect for the fact that I think I can do that as well.
Yeah, man. Like, and I appreciate that. Like, getting that kind of feedback has helped me to know like what to focus on, what works, what people need to. And then I just think back to like what it was like for me at that time when I was in between. I was in the middle of a divorce and shit. And then, excuse my language, but it was hard, man. Like I'd been in this solid, and well, that wasn't a solid relationship, but this long relationship for all these years, and then it fell apart, and it's like, damn, and just like going back to those days when I was going through that, and then sharing that how I felt at that time really affects a lot of dudes because they're going through the same thing. And giving them hope to say, listen, man, there's somebody out there for you. Yeah, I know you got scammed, but there's somebody out there who's real. Keep looking. I got scammed too. Keep going. Yeah, that's what kind of bothers me. Like I'm on the cusp right now of doing really well, but I'm in a weird spot because right now all the kids live with me now, and it gives me. It kind of cuts into the opportunities to move back and forward, and with the virus going on, I can't just leave the country right now anyway. Mm-hmm. So it gives me, I guess I'll take advantage of the situation and utilize that as the time I can go and find somebody to watch them when I'm actually leaving. But it's rough, man. I don't know how you did. I don't know how you did it.
Well, your kids were a little older, I bet.
My kids were 7 and like 9 when 7 and 9, something like that, when I started. We were going through it. Your kids are younger than that?
Yes.
Okay.
One is not talking right now. He's kind of talking, but he's not talking. And then I got one that's definitely around your oldest's age. And
Okay.
then my other one is, kind of free spirited,
Right.
Basically 3, so
I hear you.
but she's young, so.
Yeah. Hey, Big Truck, how you doing, man? Is that you?
Good evening. How's everybody?
My man right there.
Again, man.
Man.
My man's Big Truck again.
Dude's hilarious, man. You are hilarious.
How's everybody this week? How are you guys?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
I'm doing good, man. I just wish I had. I wish I had better confidence that I was gonna leave the country like you did, man. Because I can't get my mind wrapped around spending like a whole crap load of money and then being rejected at the last minute. I feel like that's not.
No. If I were you, I wouldn't even try until you absolutely know that they open up the border. You obviously can't really go there right now. Did you see that story that I showed you? Duterte claiming that they're still in a state of emergency until next year, September 2021?
Yeah, I saw that.
No, I didn't.
So if they think it's that serious, see, my thing is Philippines they haven't had that many deaths. They've only had like 3,000 deaths, not even 3,000 deaths. My thing is they should treat it more like Thailand.
Yeah. Their president don't play though.
Yeah, and he's probably doing the right thing. He's actually, he's probably doing the exact right thing. But my thing is, it's like eventually you got to open up, and once you do open up, now you've got to deal with the fact that you've got so many people who are really, really hurting because your quarantine has been so deep. Because first of all, most other countries, they've had better access to money coming from the outside than the Philippines, because when this first started, they, MoneyGram, Western Union, those places were extremely difficult to even get the money from because they were running out of cash, so even if you were sending somebody money, you couldn't even get it. So now you're in a situation where a lot of people are unemployed, tourism hasn't come back yet, and a lot of people, they're like desperate,
Well, they just closed down the fish ports in Davao, so I would assume that I do have the good news. They estimated, I think, there was going to be 300,000 deaths in America. They changed that. They just announced that it's not going to reach 300,000 deaths. So at least that's good for us. I can't speak for the Philippines. Maybe they'll change their tune when things start going down here in America.
Well, my thing is, we're dealing with such disinformation and we're dealing with such ignorant people.
Yeah.
Until we can't even agree that there's been actually 200,000 deaths.
Crazy.
Because when you've got a president and you've got all of this counter-sayers in Fox News and the right-wing talk radio, we can't even agree on how many people have actually died up until this point here. So my thing is, it's like,
oh, so it's just the right wing. It's just the right wing. Come on now.
No. Let me tell you something. The left wing media, they are more anxious to simply accept what they see coming from either the WHO or whatever, but the right wing constantly rejects anything that they see that looks negative. So my problem is I lean on the negative rather than the positive at this point.
Big Truck has a point, man. Like, it's not even about left or right. Like, it's about we can't agree. We can't agree what the facts are. That's ridiculous.
Okay. That's
what I was saying. That's what I was saying. I was saying that you can't just say one side. Neither side is really. Both sides have been acting like spoiled little brats and acting like America's a toy instead of an actual country.
But
that's what the problem.
Okay, you know what? I correct myself because I'm looking at World meters, and since the last time I looked, they've updated the Philippines. They're saying it's close to 5,000. They're saying 4,984. They're saying close to 5,000. And now Philippines has a population of like 69 million. So most of those people being younger people instead of older people, right? But no, my thing is, I don't think it's fair to just say the left and the right are treating this the exact same way. And the reason why I think that's a false equivalency, because the problem that I see is more people are getting right-wing information because more people watch Fox. So if you have more people watching Fox and you have more people getting... Because conservative talk radio dominates America. When you go out into middle America, you're not talking about...
Who owns Fox?
Fox? Rupert Murdoch and...
News Corp.
Disney. Disney owns Fox, bro. Disney owns Fox, bro.
Hold on. Fox, right? When I'm saying Fox, I'm talking about like Sean Hannity and like those channels. Because you got to remember, Fox is a really, really large network. But the vast majority of the right wing talk is all over the country.
Not only that.
I would disagree with that.
But
I would disagree with that statement. But
here's another thing, though. Here's another thing. Who is in power right now in the U.S.?
Who's in power? Trump is basically.
The GOP is in power. They own the Senate, and they own they run the Senate. They got the majority in the Senate. Okay, and they're in the executive branch.
And don't forget the judicial branch.
One could argue that they also have the judicial branch. They are running the show right now. And
I would like to know what's your opinion about that Supreme Court.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that. But the buck stops with who leads the country. If it was Obama right now, I would be saying the same thing about him. I'd be like, he's a failure. He failed. So.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Let me just say this: when I said Rupert Murdoch, Fox Corporation is still owned by the Murdoch family.
Yeah, it's News Corp. They own it.
And when he said that it was what was it? He
Disney?
said it was acquired by Disney. No, Disney didn't acquire that whole thing. They didn't acquire all the assets.
They only got one part of the assets.
There you go. Fox News is still owned by the Murdoch family. I was right when I said that. You can look it up.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, man, my thing about I have a real issue with this. Like, the conservatives, like, I wish that they would own up to mistakes. Like, if you make a mistake, own up to it and fix it. Don't pretend like it's not happening.
As far as they're concerned, they haven't made any mistakes.
Exactly.
As far as they're concerned.
Exactly.
I wouldn't say that much. I wouldn't say that much at all.
I wouldn't say that much.
Hold up. Hold up. NC.
I'm saying I wouldn't say that they have opened up to their mistakes. They haven't.
They have not.
They've been very. Me and you are gonna agree on this. And no, we don't agree on a lot, but when it comes to this, but me and you're gonna agree on that. They don't own up to their mistakes. That's been a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my problem is, as far as they're concerned, they haven't made any mistakes. That's what I'm saying.
He just said that. Yeah, they're not owning up to any mistake, anything that they've done wrong. And my thing is, like, if you're a guy, like, there's plenty of things I didn't like about what Obama did. Like, I didn't like the drone strikes. There's tons of things I didn't like. And when he did those things, I'm like, are you serious? And I just don't understand how they're just giving Trump a free pass with all this stuff. That's what I don't get.
You know what? See, my problem is, I do not blame Obama for things like those drone strikes. Obama was voted in because of how badly George Bush's administration actually went.
No doubt.
George Bush launched that war, and now Obama was basically voted in to clean up George Bush's mess. Bush's economy collapsed. Obama was voted in to clean up Bush's collapsed economy.
Yeah.
So, Obama, first of all, Obama is not a military guy. The military guys came to Obama, and Obama okayed what they were doing because they told him that was the best way. But you think about it. We were in what was it? We were at war with Iraq between 2003 and Obama's presidency in 2008. That's 7 years, right?
Right.
There was no way to wind that war down without pretty much doing exactly.
Hello? Oh, man. What's going on with this thing? Alright, I'm going to have to disconnect and reconnect. If you are watching this, you can join us every Sunday.
That they had to do it. I mean, granted, most people are now saying, okay, yeah, well, Trump hasn't started any wars. Trump hasn't produced any new wars and everything while the Democrats put us in a war. The Democrats didn't put us in war with the war. That was Bush's decision, and that was based on 9/11. But here's the thing. Trump's war is a civil war right here. So my thing is, we're fighting right now. We're right now. We're in a situation where they have tuned us up to the point where we don't even believe that whatever the election results are going to be the election results.
Isn't it crazy?
That's how bad it is. And let me tell you something. We've already had people killing each other who are regular civilians. These are not organized armies. We've already had people killing cops, and we had cops killing people, and it's only ramping up to be man versus man on the streets of America. So no, I think it's a false equivalency for them to just say, oh yeah, well, the left-wing media is treating it this way. They're not the ones in charge. I just think that's a false equivalency.
Yeah, it's bad, man. I don't see how, and people can look at this situation and think, oh, yeah, this is going great. Like, just the other day, we were driving from the library or something like that, and on the side of the road here in Colorado, a bunch of people were with signs and flags about re-electing Trump, and I'm thinking to myself, who? It's like we're living in two different realities.
We are. You're living in two different realities just as sure as some people are tuned into CNN and MSNBC and some people are tuned into Fox. The media is shaping the news at this point. They're not presenting the news, they're shaping it. And that should have never been allowed, but we've allowed it to happen. And now that we've allowed it to happen, what's editorial is being passed off as news. What's opinion is being passed off as news. So we're in a situation where the people are hyper polarized because of it.
And the thing is, the executive branch, the president, is basically parroting what these opinion shows are saying, and that's just dangerous, man. It's not. The thing is, like your Sean Hannity's, your Laura Ingrams, your Tucker Carlson's, like, they're just opinion pieces. It's not a lot of times not facts. They're telling what their opinion is. They have somebody come on their show and then they talk to them about their opinion about this or that situation. And then the president of the United States goes on Twitter and retweets what they just said. And it becomes some kind of reality. It's like, that was just an opinion. There's no facts in that at all. And it's getting just very dangerous situation that we've gotten ourselves into.
Yeah, well, we see the thing. What's sad is they're constantly criticizing countries like China and everything, and they're talking about PRC, state-run media, and how the PRC had they canceled out Google and they blocked down Facebook and anything that the government doesn't like that they cancel out, so that this way they can say whatever they want and the people accept it. We're doing the same thing right now. We're doing it with TikTok, WeChat. I've got Chinese friends. I'm talking to them, and they're like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to be able to speak to my family. I don't know how I'm going to be able to talk to my Chinese girlfriend in China. We're doing the exact same thing. Yeah. And it's just right now, it's in your face. And they're saying, oh, well, it's because of national security. Oh, yeah, well, you can get away with anything for national security. Exactly. I can say anything. You know, if I was president, you're talking about drone strikes. I could kill anybody I want to kill as long as I say it's because of national security. And I
That's
can get
the
away
problem
with
with Patriot Act, the FISA courts, and a lot of. Hopefully, we fix that stuff. But I don't know, man. It's looking bad. It's looking really bad. What do you think about what's with Ruth Bader Ginsburg? You think that they're gonna immediately? I mean, I guess it's a stupid question, but are they what? I mean, looks like what's gonna happen is they're gonna fill that seat immediately. That's what it looks like.
I was looking at I think it was CNN, and they had written about how like the shortest times that it took to fill vacancies for other Supreme Court justices. And thus far, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't seen anything shorter than 44, possibly 50 days based on what they had written up. But I'm thinking that the average seems to be about 2 months. We are currently, about done with September pretty much, and we're entering October. That would be 1 month. Now, Trump might do something crazy, like he might say, yeah, I'm going to take a conservative black woman and put her up there, because he claims that he's going to take a woman this time, right?
Right.
So if he tries to put up a black woman or something like that, then if you end up with another... Because I want you to think about something. As black men, most of us... I don't know how you feel about him, but a lot of black men have negative feelings towards Clarence Thomas. And if you look at their record, Clarence Thomas has
pretty
ruled
conservative.
More conservatively than John Roberts. And John Roberts came from Bush's administration.
Right.
So just because somebody's your color doesn't mean that they're your kind. You know? So I don't know what Trump is going to pick. Chances are it'll be a white woman if he does pick a woman. However, if there's a lot of people saying they'd like to see a black woman on the Supreme Court, but Trump will pick the equivalent of a...
Yeah. And thing is, they got the votes, though. So they have they're going to appoint... he's probably already selected one.
Well, you're not supposed to just select one. You're supposed to show us a couple. And then furthermore, for you to do what you're doing now, and then see the sad thing is, these Democrats, it's amazing that every single person that they've got in power is so old. That's the reason why our generation is so in love with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and we're so in love with Omar and Tlaib, because these are young women.
Right.
My thing is, you can't have all of these old people in these positions when you have no idea what's going to happen down the road. And Ginsburg has left us in a really bad situation, because I was hoping she'd stay alive just until the election was over, and she could not hold that. And by the way, I met Ginsburg.
Wow.
She swore. Yeah, I have a photo. She swore in my sister, who's a lawyer. She had to swear her into the Southern District Court system.
Wow.
And I made a YouTube video where I drove to Washington, and this was before Trump got elected. It was like 2016 or 2015, the summer.
Yeah.
Right? It was the summer of 2016. And I went to the Supreme Court for the first time. I sat during her deliberation where she was talking about the 3 strikes law and how it affects Native Americans.
Wow.
Because we were trying to prosecute Native Americans, but they were ruling that, listen, these people live on tribal land and they're subject to tribal law. They're not subject to the 3 strikes rule.
Right.
So, I actually met her when we weren't allowed to take photos with her, but I have one photo where she's in it with my sister. But we're not allowed to have cameras. Well, they made me take off my Apple Watch before I went into the Supreme Court chamber. But I was like really interested, because this is something that you always read about, how the judicial system works and everything, and I actually got to sit down and watch it in procedure. I thought that was great. But she was an old woman then. I mean, she was like so old, and she was like so frail. I was like, oh shit, they got to replace. And this was right after Scalia died, so his seat was still empty. And I'm like, damn.
I mean, it was just a matter of time. She had a few close calls. Every time I see close calls, I'm like, oh my god. Is it going to happen now? Oh, man. What's going on? She's still alive. And then this time, nope. She passed away.
But you know what? They're up there talking about. They're claiming that the Democrats have like a master plan or something, and they're talking about
expanding
like,
it.
This mail-in voting. No, with mail-in voting, they're saying that the Democrats are planning to not know who the president is on day one, so Nancy Pelosi would become the president for a short time while the votes are still being counted. Then they're talking about the Democrats are trying to cheat and put Biden in there using the mail-in voting. And then once Biden gets in there, Biden's going to quit and Kamala Harris is going to be president. That's what they're saying.
They always got some kind of stupid.
Yeah, but my thing is, this government at this point is so corrupt that if you were a president or if you were a Senate majority on either side, you'd think that they would have enough respect for the country to say, listen, we're a month away from elections. We're not going to even try to seat somebody until the election is done and we know exactly which way the country should be moving.
Not only that, but they're such hypocrites. Like Mitch McConnell said, he had a great point. When Obama was on his way out, 8 months out, he says, listen, let the people decide. Who the next president will select the person who's going to replace Scalia. And there was nothing that the Democrats could say about it because they didn't. I believe they didn't have the House at that time. So, and then Lindsey Graham. Did you hear what he said? He was like,
I saw my posted, but I didn't listen to it.
He's like, use these words against me. If the same thing happened in 2016, the president has 4-year term. Basically, he described exactly what has happened just now. And he says, if that same thing happened, whoever the GOP president is, should not be able to select the new sitting Supreme Court justice. And now he's about to renege on all that, just like Mitch McConnell is. And
well, you know what's funny? I actually, even though I'm on Obama, I voted for Obama twice, right?
Me too.
Even though I did vote for Obama, I actually agreed that close to the end where the election was coming, I really did agree that the president who was picked next time, whoever it was,
right,
was the one who should get to decide who was going to be the next justice. Because if you want to remember something, the Constitution doesn't even say how many justices we're supposed to have. 9 is just how they've been doing it to make it look like there's a majority rule and that you're getting one person more than 8 or something, right? So that's just something they've been using. The Constitution doesn't say how many justices. It just says that the president is supposed to be the one who appoints justices.
Not only that, but at one point there was I believe there was 10, and they changed it.
Right, because they wanted a clear majority vote.
Right.
But see, my thing is, again, this I would actually strike up to a poor, or how should I say, poor foresight of the Constitution. Because there's a lot of things that the Constitution isn't clear on, because back when it was written, they couldn't be 100% certain that we would have a population like we have now.
There's no way they could have known.
Was clear. My thing is the Constitution should have said something to the effect of, listen, you're not allowed to be president unless you've had at least one term as a governor. Because my thing is the person who governs should have experience governing. Now, I can understand that they don't want it to be that way because they want the people to be able to select somebody like them. But what happens if the people become stupid? What happens? What happens if the people become completely ignorant to the point where they don't even know enough of their own civics to understand how their own government works? If that's the case, then again, it's a bad lack of foresight,
Yeah, this is never in my lifetime that I think we'd have something like this. And it's not even Trump that's shocked. The most shocking part is how many people worship this dude. And it's like, what? Like driving around locally, I see people with the flag, or it's they're out there saying, 4 more years and this and that. I'm like, how could this dude is responsible? There's 200,000 people dead. Who is responsible for that? It's complete incompetence. And people are cheering this guy on, talking about 4 more years. I'm like, man, the stupidity is shocking. And I don't even know. It's not even stupidity. It's something else.
These are the same. No. Me personally, I do not blame Trump for what's going on. Trump is a symptom of a sickness that's much, much larger in this country.
You're right.
Trump is a logical consequence. These are the same people that elected Bush and then turned around and elected him again in 2004. These are the same people.
Right.
There's that loud, but when I
remember
say that conservative talk, and when I say that these people are all throughout this country, now I believe that this country is slowly moving left. Simply because people are broke and because people are having such a hard time, I believe that the younger generations are moving left.
Yes.
The problem is they're not voting. They're not voting in power.
Exactly.
You know, when they put Obama in, there was still a whole lot of people who were trying to vote for McCain and Palin, despite the fact Palin was an idiot and McCain was relatively
Mr.
weak
Williams, how you
after
doing?
a Bush presidency. You know, Palin was an idiot, and they still were willing to vote her in.
You know,
so when you're talking about that, my thing is they're willing to vote for anything that sounds like them, and that's the problem.
Right. I mean, you would think that you would want. I mean, for me, I always want somebody who's brilliant. I want the top person. I want the most brilliant person on the stage, person shining with the most ideas, you know. And I don't care what race, I don't care what gender. If they're dope, then that's the person I want. But some people, they just want somebody exactly like them, who talks like them, and that's Trump. And I agree with you.
And that's the fear. Because even when they were interviewing these people at the McCain-Palin rallies, you had all these old white women saying, "Oh, I'm so happy that there's finally somebody who talks to me." And they were talking about Palin. They didn't want McCain. They were voting for Palin. If it hadn't been for Palin on that ticket, most of them would have stayed home. But the left wing, when they came out to vote for Obama, they were 10 million strong, to the point where there was no question that he got the electoral vote and the popular vote.
That was incredible.
See, the canary in the coal mine was when he went up against Romney, and now he only got 5 million more votes than Romney, because that should have been the canary in the coal mine. Because when Hillary ran, Hillary still got the majority vote, and she only got 3 million. So the question is, where's those other 6 million people, or those 7 million people? Where were they? But my thing is, the Republicans have a better strategy, because the Republicans, as long as you sound like them, people will vote for you even if they're not sure about you. With these Democrats, they're pulling in every direction, and it bothers me more than anything seeing all these black males starting that anti-Kamala Harris bullshit. You know, and my thing
I haven't seen that.
No, believe here in New York, I hear it online. Like, you hear with all these black males with these new channels like Donovan Schaub and Anthony this and that, and they're talking about their negative relationships with women, because women have either kicked their ass or the child support system has kicked their ass. So they hate women in general, and there's an underlying misogyny. Yeah, there's an underlying misogyny to the point where they hate women in general. And when you have a black woman like Kamala Harris, because I don't care about that Indian background and all that. When white America looks at her, they're calling her black. They didn't call, not a damn one of them knows anything about a Jamaican daddy or a Indian mama. When they look at her, she's called black, period. Because in this country, you're forced to pick between being white and being black. So that's like having me choose between, do I want to be the oppressor or the oppressed? So she's picking oppressed, because that's what she is. So I don't want to hear any of that bullshit about, oh yeah, well, her mama is from Bangladesh or something. Nah, No. In this country, she's classified as not white. She's classified as black.
Honestly, I think it's great that she's mixed because thing is, those Indians are going to be like, oh shit, she's part Indian. I'm voting for her. I'm voting for the Biden-Harris ticket. Any kind of thing that gives them an advantage to me is great because we are in a situation where if we don't get rid of this dude, we are screwed. We are screwed as a country.
You can't believe that they're going to vote for her just because she's Asian. The problem is you have a lot of these immigrants who are here, and they want to cozy up to the dominant group here, which is obviously white. So they will look, sound, and talk and act just like the dominant group, just so that they think that they can blend in. Look at Chinese Americans.
I hear you.
Indian Americans are the number one Asian group here. They're richer here.
Yeah, they're dope.
Chinese Americans are here.
They're dope. They kill it here.
Remember, racism in America kept Chinese people out of America. It didn't allow Chinese people to come over here. They had the Chinese Exclusion Acts. So my thing is, if it wasn't for the racism in this country, Asian Americans would be doing even better in this country than they're doing right now, and they're already doing pretty well. They own 12 times more wealth than whites do. You know?
The Civil Rights Act really changed a lot of that.
Yeah. A lot of them came out and voted for Obama, but there were also a large number of them that still showed up at those Bush rallies, and a lot of them that showed up at those McCain-Palin rallies. So my thing is, you can't be certain.
But the thing is, like, look at what's happening now. Like, okay, so there's a tax on several different fronts on immigrants. So one, it was a student ban that the White House tried to push through. Well, they tried to student ban, a Muslim ban. They went against H-1B visas, which Indians are huge on. So several different directions that this White House has gone that's going to alienate them from all those voters, and I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but man, that can't be good for them. Because normally immigrants, like you said, they want the most dominant group. They don't want to be no subgroup. They're trying to follow the dominant group. But now the GOP has isolated themselves to the point where they're like shoving voters away, like all voters. They're like, nope, get out of here. We don't want you out of here. We don't want you. We don't want you. You know, the only group that's kind of sticking with them is probably Latin America, Latinos. There's still quite a few Latinos that are still, and I don't understand that at all.
Exactly, I was about to say that. For you to be a Hispanic, but see, here's the problem though. The word Hispanic simply means that you speak Spanish. Now, when they classify Hispanics, they ask, are you a white Hispanic or a black Hispanic? And any Hispanic that can look at themselves and think that they can pass as white is classifying themselves as a white Hispanic. And we've already known that we've had Cubans come here and claim that they're pro-Republican Party.
Oh yeah.
Because they hate the idea of socialism. Yeah, okay, I'm fine by that. But the thing about it is they've managed to turn these people against their own people. You know, it's just amazing.
You got Marco Rubio, you got Ted Cruz, and several others who are firebrands in that Latino community. But I'm hoping that they flip Texas, man. That would be dope if the Latinos come. You think so? You think so?
It's going to take 10 years. It's going to take 10 years or less.
It will flip. It will eventually flip. But I don't. You know what might flip is Florida. Florida might flip.
Florida's eventually. But see, the reason.
No, I mean in this election.
As far as this election, Florida is probably highly a possibility of flipping because you're dealing with a large population of older voters, and as far as Texas, I wouldn't say just yet, but you got to remember.
I don't think Texas.
The state, no, not this election, but within the next 10 to 20 years,
oh yeah,
you've got so many liberals who are moving out of California to Texas, Washington, Oregon, Colorado, Nevada, and right now you're hearing these conservatives, these white conservatives saying, "Oh, well, if you move to my state, leave your liberal voting policies at home." That ain't gonna happen. What the fuck? fuck do you think it's not gonna happen?
Damiz says, I'm white Hispanic. Hey man, I want to ask you a question out there. Okay, I know you're a Trump supporter. What is the community for the community that you're around? Which direction are they going? What's their opinion on what's going on? Are they like 1,000% down with Trump, or which way are they voting? I'm very curious about this because we were just talking about how we think that the Hispanic vote is like 50-50. Like it's not. I think it's leaning towards Biden, but it might. There's quite a few of them is still 100% down for Trump, which I don't understand at all, especially the way he talks about Mexicans, the way he talks about different groups in the Hispanic community.
Bruce, you say you don't understand why they would support Trump the way he talks about Mexicans. You're making the assumption that a lot of these Hispanic groups like Mexicans. If you've had Dominican or you've had Puerto Rican friends, a lot of them talk bad about Mexicans. And I'm saying they talk racially about Mexicans in a way where it sounds like racism. So my thing is, even with this guy right here, I'd like to get him on the chat so you could actually hear him say it, because typing doesn't convey the messages that well. But why does he feel it necessary to classify himself as a white Hispanic? Are you a Latino? Are you white of skin? Like, these groups who are coming to this country are desperate to cozy up to white because they don't want to be oppressed.
What I don't understand, here's why I don't understand it. If Haitian, I don't identify with Haitians at all, but they're black. So if people are discriminating against Haitians, I feel a certain kind of way about it because they're black. You know, like I'm not gonna. They're treating them a certain way because they're black, not specifically because they're Haitian. And that's that. So if I'm Hispanic and they're treating my Dominican brothers in a certain way, and I'm Mexican, I'm gonna be like, wait, hold on a second, you know. And that's just how I feel about it. If they're treating Jamaicans a certain way, or if they're treating Haitians a certain way, you know, I'm like, nah, this isn't cool. Like, I don't feel like I'm separate from that group because they're getting the same kind of treatment that we've gotten. So for me to think that they're only going to treat this group of people that way is in my mind, it's ignorant. So I'm always blown away by.
But you got to understand, that's how racism in this country works. The dominant group, everybody tries to move towards the dominant group, and they discriminate against the minority. Even with look at Kamala Harris. All these black people are saying, "Oh, well, she's Jamaican, she's not black." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Who's saying that?
Oh my god! Oh my god! I can't tell you.
Who is saying that?
I hear it so much.
I saw Don Jr. say something like that, and then he deleted his tweet. But I'm not seeing, like, anybody I'm around's not saying that. Like, she's black, period. Like, it's just
oh my god, I hear it so
it's just a special coincidence she happens to be Indian. But for the most part, people, you know, see her as black. That's it. You know, by upbringing, by culture, they see her as black, even though she is definitely Indian, part Indian.
No, no, but see, that's the thing. The ignorance level is it's obscene. Like, when I hear somebody say, like, I hear people like they're talking about it openly on Fox News. If you like, they're talking about, oh yeah, Kamala Harris isn't black. They're saying that shit. Yeah, but the problem is, once you put that bullshit into somebody's mind, they keep on defaulting to that. Fox News themselves. Now here you got a bunch of white people talking about how black Kamala Harris isn't. But they did the same thing to Obama. They were like, oh yeah, well, his mom was white, so he's not really a black president. Well, what the fuck are you talking about? The mere fact that if you can look at him and call him the N-word, he must be black.
They sure treated him black. I'll tell you that much. I mean, remember in the State of the Union address when some dude screamed liar in the middle of the speech? Who does that?
Here's my thing. Where's the Democrats to do that shit to Trump? Because if I was in that fucking audience, I would have said all types of shit. The Secret Service would have had to escort me out. But the thing about it is, if you do it with enough people, there ain't nothing they can do about it. And I would have sat right there and said that shit.
Okay, let me see. He says the sentiment is within the Hispanic community is the majority will vote against Trump. I'm surrounded by mostly Mexican Americans. Strong evangelical Hispanics will vote for Trump. But okay. Yeah, okay. That's about what I expected, actually. But I just wonder how anybody can vote, how any Hispanic person can vote for him after all the stuff on the south border and stuff. Yeah, I know that, the refugees and stuff. They're not Mexican Americans. They're not Cuban Americans. They're trying to come here, quote unquote undocumented, illegally, whatever. But the thing is how they're treated. You know what I mean? Like how these human beings are being treated. I don't see how anyone, especially evangelicals. That's the most mind-blowing thing for me. The most mind-blowing thing is how evangelical Christians, people calling themselves Christians, can see how our government how border agents are treating these children at the border and not have any kind of empathy for these human beings. It blows my mind, and I don't understand it.
They do. The first thing they do is they try to shift the blame. By the way, I invited some people from my Discord, so you may end up getting more people because I'm trying to get you some more people up in here. But no, the thing that they're doing is they'll try to shift the blame and be like, oh yeah, well those pictures of cages weren't under weren't under Trump, they were under Obama. My point is they were there. What were you doing about it then? If you had stopped it under Obama, it wouldn't have existed under Trump. And you've heard that they're up there giving these women hysterectomies and shit.
Right. Like, yeah, if I
was the Hispanic community, I'd be out there rioting right now.
That disgusts me, man. I mean, I'm so disgusted by it. I don't even want to believe it, man. Like, it's so bad now. Like, hearing that kind of news, it just taking me a while to digest, to process it. It's just too bad, man. It's one of those things that I hear about, and I'm like, I don't know. I need more facts. It's hard for me to believe that this is happening, but it looks like it is, and it's just a shame.
Here's my thing. Why is it so hard for you to believe that it's happening? They've done this before. They did it to blacks with the Tuskegee experiment. Why is it so hard to believe?
Yeah.
I mean, do you have to see videotape of them?
It's 2020. That's why. It's 2020.
Do you have to see a leaked video on Facebook of them going inside a woman and taking her uterus out?
Let me see. Somebody said Damiz says, I agree with your guess. Within the Hispanic community, there is racism. And a big thanks, Big Truck, for the heads up. Yeah. Man, it's just a shame, man. Like, I'm surprised more people aren't disgusted, angry, especially evangelicals, like, about what's going on with the treatment of children at the border. My opinion is that you're better off voting for an honest Republican who will tell you what they will do than a backstabbing Democrat. Well, what honest Republican do you have out there? Like, what are you talking about? Trump? Trump's not honest about anything. He's not honest about anything, man.
My question is, how far does Trump have to put his foot up these people's asses for them to realize that, you know what, this guy's hurting me?
Yeah, they don't see it as being hurt. They see it as winning. They see it as winning.
And that's the problem.
They favor power.
Understand something. As long as they feel that Trump hurts the left, they'll continue to vote for that. Because these people, this is like their way of trying to annihilate the other side. Even though they can't straight out front annihilate the other side, this is how they feel that they can get it done. And the same thing happens in a lot of these other countries where you see ethnic cleansing going on, where you see them voting in these ultra right wing or these ultra radical conservative governments in order to, how should I say, oppress the other side and eventually to destroy the other side. That's how these people think. Why do you think they're going out and buying all these guns? They know that these people ain't coming to no goddamn West Virginia to attack them. They know nobody's coming to their house and everything. Like, you got these people marching and everything. Ain't nobody trying to break into these people's houses. These people think that they can have a race war and that they can end shit in one swift motion. But I want them to understand it ain't like that. That's what they think.
I think that there's a very extremist portion who, for sure, wants there to be some kind of race riot, but I don't think a race war or whatever, the Boogaloo Boys or whatever the hell they're called, like them, but I think that that's a small minority. The majority of people is like you said earlier in this, where basically all they do is listen to Fox News opinion pieces from Laura Ingraham, from Tucker Carlson, from Sean Hannity, and the thing is, it's older white dudes, not just, it's older people in particular who are fed off these cable shows, and the younger generation has moved on to the internet. I mean, I don't know any young people who have cable. They all watch either YouTube or something else. But these older guys, man, that's all they do is watch Fox News, which is why it has such high ratings. Because they're saying what they want to hear. Okay, somebody said,
I agree.
I have friends who were deported under the Obama administration. 2.2 million people deported under Obama. So if you're a conservative, that should make you happy, right? You want to see undocumented people deported, right? That's your thing, isn't it? That's another thing I don't understand about this two-faced hypocrisy that these guys have. If they bring that up, like, oh, Obama deported this, and shouldn't that make you happy? Isn't that what you want to do?
Well, but you know what? The difference between Trump and Obama was that Obama didn't put it in your face. Obama could have deported every last Mexican and you never would have known it, because he never would have stood on television saying, yeah, Mexicans, they're rapists, they're murderers, they don't send their best. Obama would have never said something like that. You never would have put it in your face.
Not only that, but they've got kids in cages, they're separating them from their families, and they're giving women hysterectomies. I mean,
exactly.
None of that stuff happened under Obama administration. So,
not a day. And you know what's funny? Glenn Beck used to talk when Obama first got elected. Glenn Beck used to say there were all of these there were these left-wing armies that were going to come up of kids under Obama and everything, right? Everything that Glenn Beck said about Obama is coming out under Trump. Antifa is basically what Glenn Beck was talking about. But it didn't happen under Obama.
Somebody said, can we talk about how Obama promised affordable health care? He said health care would be... Oh, shit, I just lost it. My bad.
Yeah. Obama promised us health care. He tried to deliver on it, and he ended up with a health care tax in Obamacare. But here's the thing. Trump hasn't offered you anything at all. Just allowing you to get a little bit of a tax cut doesn't matter if you can't afford shit, because everything's skyrocketing in price. So you're talking about somebody who tried to give you a healthcare plan of some type, which in my opinion Obama shouldn't have done. There was no way that was going to work unless they did a flat tax across the board like they have with Social Security. There's no way that was going to work. Meanwhile, Trump is promising all those essential workers extra money and all that. That never happened, and they can't even satisfy a second stimulus check, because as far as Trump is saying, he wants all of you to go right back to work, and hopefully you'll forget about the fact that right now, I want you to notice something. It's been 6 months, and all they handed you was $1,200? 6 months?
And this guy's... Hey, and this dude, look, the bottom line is this. The guy's a failure. Trump is a failure. He's a failure on everything. He hasn't delivered on any of his promises, including the wall. Do you know that most of the wall that he, quote unquote, done, like he's already finished, that was all that is the existing fencing that he fixed. The actual wall that he did is only like 100 feet. The actual new wall that they did, and some of which was blown down by the wind. He's a failure. He's a failure on every aspect. You want to attack ACA, the Affordable Health Care Act? What has the GOP done for health care? They keep promising.
Excuse me, Bruce. Don't call Trump a failure on everything. He did succeed. He just succeeded in something. He managed to single-handedly ban TikTok and WeChat. He succeeded. He stopped the evils of the Chinese Facebook Instant Messenger competitor.
He even failed on that because they just allowed TikTok to come through. He's a failure on every aspect. He's a failure.
Oh, shit. He lost to TikTok too? Goddamn.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
He's a failure on every aspect. I mean, just name something that he's actually done, please. Name something that he's actually done for anyone, including people who support him. He hasn't done anything.
Oh, I got something. He managed to pass the largest bailout in the history of America. Now you can't
for the
tell
rich,
me that's
exactly.
You can't
that was
tell
a success.
Me that's not an accomplishment. That's an accomplishment, right?
Preach.
They were talking. Now I want you to notice all those goddamn racists in the Tea Party came out against Obama because he was black, and meanwhile, Obama only passed like $1 trillion worth of bailout. Trump just passed 2.2 and gave your dumbass $1,200 for 6 months. 6 months. That wasn't enough for you to pay for food.
That's true.
Good for them. Let me tell you something. Again, I'll ask the question. How far up your ass does Trump need to put his foot before you admit that it hurts? That's all I have to ask. That's the only thing I got to ask.
How many trillions of dollars did they give away? Talking about we're not going to do communism. We don't want to be socialist. They gave away trillions of dollars to the rich. And you got $1,200. Think about it.
When this thing started, Italy first, they said, listen, everybody stay home, no jobs, no work, just stay home. Nobody's going to come collect rent. Mortgages are going to be paused, this, that, and other, right? How about this country? This country says, okay, guess what? We'll give you a forbearance on your loans. So even though you can't pay us $2,000 this month, in the next 4 months, we expect you to pay us $8,000. That's how this country is.
Ridiculous. Totally ridiculous.
Incredible. Absolutely fun. But see, you know what? You know what's missing? The missing problem is that there's nobody like me saying what I'm saying the way I'm saying it on regular television. And they work very hard to make sure that that doesn't happen. So we have to be in these back channels on the internet talking smack. But the reality is, these people are so worried about nonsense that their entire lives are being threatened by this government and by Trump. And they can't visualize it. They can't internalize it. It's disgusting. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I don't understand how you can vote for a failure of a human being.
I mean, of all the things that this guy is worried about, he's fighting TikTok. He's fighting a goddamn app for some stupid kids to get on there and make videos of themselves, and that's what they're worried about.
Meanwhile, 200,000 people, 200,000 Americans are dying from a pandemic, and this dumbass wants to talk about TikTok.
TikTok. You're worried about TikTok. Oh my God! It's like absolutely incredible, and then you've got the right wing. They're so anti-China. Let me tell you something. I strongly believe if Trump had never started that Chinese trade war bullshit, I guarantee coronavirus never would have happened. Guaranteed. I guarantee it.
I don't know about that.
You know why? No, but you know what I think? The Chinese government and us, we started shutting down avenues of diplomacy because of Trump, right?
True.
So if you remember, they started kicking our people out of China who could have helped.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Right. So right.
But see, the problem is the flow of information.
Yeah.
If we had
that's a good point.
People in China,
yes,
because if you remember, they started going after our diplomats. They were going after our diplomats before coronavirus.
Not only that, to piggyback on what you're saying, but when H1N1, if you remember, during the Obama administration and during what was the other one? The one from Africa. I can't remember the name. Ebola. What they did was they sent the CDC to those hotspots in that country where it broke out. They sent the CDC with the WHO to China to see the hotspots in H1N1 to figure out what was the source, what's going on, to do research. And then that was the way that we were able to get that information. So had we been able to work with China on these pandemics, it probably wouldn't be as bad as it is right now. So you have a point.
And Bruce,
didn't think of that.
You pulled up H1N1 and you pulled up. Now I want you to think about something. When I brought that to you just now, the way I brought it to you, it jogged your memory, right?
Yeah.
I want you to think further back, because a lot of these Americans seem to have short freaking memories like they're goldfish. But I want you to think further back. You remember when we had the problem with China where they were shipping lead in the toys, and the dog food, and the fucking sheetrock?
Yes.
Well, guess what? What happened because of that? We immediately jumped on them.
Yeah.
The guy who was in charge of the toys, the guy committed suicide, and I think a couple of the other ones were indicted in China. In China, if you remember, a guy committed suicide. And then on top of that, we were better able to use the USDA, and we were better able to use the CDC to monitor sheetrock, dog food, baby food, toys coming over here. And that's when you heard them start talking about lead in toys. And you heard them start talking about acceptable amounts of carcinogens and stuff, and measuring and carefully checking.
Right.
China is a trading partner. They do not want us getting sick and dying and not trusting their product. But if you're going to shut down diplomatic relations with these people and they're making all of your stuff, eventually this exact same type of thing happens again. This has happened multiple times.
Right.
It's happened multiple times.
Yes.
Multiple times. But guess what? When Obama was president, and even when Bush was president, we were able to use diplomacy to talk it through.
Yeah.
This asshole is busy trying to ban Huawei cell phones. What difference does it make? You're busy fighting a goddamn cell phone company. You're busy fighting TikTok. Why? What are you doing? What are you doing?
So somebody in the chat says, "No, dude, you're spitting emotions, not facts. You're all over the place." Listen. Just because the facts don't agree, just because you don't agree with the facts doesn't mean they're not facts, man.
Who's he talking to? And then you got these people, you see, just like this comment right here, Dame Zizi, and he's talking about 6% of those that died. That's the problem right there. The disinformation, that's the problem. I have personal friends who were either older or possibly some had obesity and possibly some had asthma. And coronavirus killed them. They were living with their obesity. They were living with their asthma. They were doing just fine up till coronavirus came and got them. So don't give me that nonsense about your numbers. You are not a virologist, Dominique Zizi. You are not a virologist, and you are not working in the CDC. I take what you say with a grain of salt. So if you want to get your information from Fox, good for you. But I'm not.
Yeah, there was a guy here locally who he was a 44-year-old police officer, sheriff, who passed away from it. I don't know, like, he didn't have any pre-existing conditions that I'm aware of, but yeah, he passed away. There's been a couple that just I don't even know what was happening. There was a dude on Joe Rogan, as a matter of fact, who was saying he was very healthy. He was running marathons and stuff, and that guy damn near died of coronavirus. What the hell is it? We don't like fully know all the information of what's going on with this stuff, man. So we got to take it serious.
But here's the problem. You're saying take it serious. We're 200,000 dead in. We're not taking it serious.
We're not.
We're not.
No, we're not.
We're busy quoting statistics, and we don't know what we're talking about. Greg Gutfeld and all those idiots on Fox News were busy calling this the flu. I mean, they've got it on tape. They were busy calling it a hoax. They were busy calling it the flu. In order for them to understand, it takes more of them to get killed by it. Just like Herman Cain. Herman Cain, he was busy going to those Trump meetings. Guess
Rallies,
where he is now?
Did
6 feet under. Guess where he is now? 6 feet under.
I mean, and consider this, man. Did you hear Bob Woodward, who just released a book called Rage, about him going around literally talking to the Trump and the Trump administration, and he got him on record admitting that it's super dangerous. When this was in January, Trump himself, this is not somebody quoting him. This is literally Bob Woodward recording him saying, yeah, it's really serious. It's airborne. This is, I don't know, we're going to, I don't want to I don't want to alarm the U.S. population. And then he's going around saying it's a hoax. Man, if you can still support this guy after he is on record in January saying how serious it is, and then going out to his rallies making a joke about it, then I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say. If you can still support this guy, then I don't know.
You can't argue with him. Look, he's saying, look what his last comment. I work in the medical industry. I deal with many recovered patients. Yeah, well, guess what? 200,000 of them didn't recover.
Right.
Okay? And that number's still growing. 200,000 didn't recover. And the mere fact that we have our government seeing what they're seeing, because our government gets more information, obviously, than we do. When the military started coming down with coronavirus, they shut down ships, they shut down any institution portion that they could because they knew it was serious. The only people that don't understand it's serious is dumbasses sitting at home watching right-wing talk and who will keep on talking about, oh yeah, it's just the flu. Yeah, well, guess what? Some people will be killed by it, some people will not be affected by it at all, and other people will carry it and spread it to others. So all of this nonsense that people are talking about it's not serious, this, that, and other, yeah, well, I know people who ain't here right now because of that.
Mr. Blacktop says CDC information was co-opted by Trump, and they have been putting out misinformation. The CDC has been sending data to the White House, and they are putting out misinformation, and it's way more than 6% with COVID. Then Damez says the worst thing that they experience, I guess he's talking about COVID-19, the worst thing that they experience is a loss of taste, smell, diarrhea, and I'm not saying it isn't real. It's being politicized. Yeah, it is being politicized by Trump. Yeah. It's being politicized by Donald Trump, man. Not just Donald Trump, by the way. Many people are politicizing, but we got to take it serious, man. I mean,
yeah. He's up there calling it a hoax and everything. Let me tell you something. I believe that I caught it, and I believe that I actually beat it. And I noticed that I have reduced breathing since not long ago, and it reminded me of the time that I had gotten bronchitis. I was in my bed shivering. I was in my bed shivering, shaking, and I expected to die. And sure enough, I'm still here. So I'm probably one of those people that recovered. But guess what? A lot of people didn't.
I think Yuri got it a few months ago.
We haven't seen Yuri in so long. We miss Yuri. Where's she?
She's upstairs cooking, man. As a matter of fact, I got to go eat real soon. But Yuri, I think, got it about April, May time frame. Yuri and my kid.
What's she making?
Oh, man, something that smells good. I don't know what it is. Some kind of roasted chicken.
You might want to, when you do go and get some food, you might want to take your video camera and make a short little food video and show us the cooking of the Filipina American housewife.
Hey, a
lot of guys are interested in knowing that.
Hey, follow me on Instagram. That's where I usually put food stuff on there. Dummies says all Trump's fault. Listen, man, he's the leader of the free world, man. I guess you know what? Maybe it's me. I expect more from the president of the United States. Yes. The buck stops with the leader. In the military, that's how it works, man. You don't just blame anybody. You blame the leader. If things go wrong, it's his or her fault. Yeah. And they have to take responsibility. The only way we're going to recover from this is if our leaders take responsibility and then go the right direction. Listen, Trump could win if he went on TV and started leading, becoming a leader. He could win, but he ain't gonna do it.
Well, if you've noticed, they've tried to restrain him from saying negative things in the media. They've tried to restrain him from saying, like, from insulting people, because that's all he used to do, was go on television and insult everybody. They've also tried to make him look a little bit more presidential in light of all that's happened. Because if you remember when he started wearing the blue hat, that's about the time that they tried to make him more presidential. Furthermore, in order to make people look at just him, they got rid of Dr. Fauci, and they got rid of that female doctor. I forget what her name is.
Dr. Birx.
They got rid of Dr. Birx because they want. See, the problem is Trump's messaging to America is so poor that it got to a point where nobody believed anything he was saying. So they had to bring about somebody else in order to break it down so that people would actually pay attention to it. That's why everybody trusted Dr. Fauci, because first of all, he sounded intelligent, he sounded professional, and he didn't sound like a fucking maniac. So when they brought Dr. Fauci out, everybody's like, okay, you know what? If Dr. Fauci says this is what I'm going to do. But they undermined this guy by taking his stuff out of context and trying to push him aside. So my thing is, I don't trust Trump. I don't trust his administration. And if I feel like that, imagine how many other Americans feel that way. And they're missing out on vital information because they're afraid that they can't listen to this unprofessional fool who's on television.
Get Social Butterfly says, what pissed me off the worst is in the beginning, the whole pandemic, Trump said there's no one needs to wear a mask. That was a bunch of bullshit, and he could have killed me and my kids. Yeah, kind of crazy. They were giving all kinds of crazy information in the beginning. It wasn't just Trump on that one. I recall the CDC also saying stuff like that. The Surgeon General was saying, you don't need a mask and stuff, and then they changed their tune. I think they were trying to... Yeah.
But Bruce, let me say this. You have to. The problem is, in the very beginning, they weren't 100% certain what they were dealing with. And I also want you to remember, in the very beginning, they had people scalping PPE. They had people buying up all the masks.
That's true. Yeah.
See, you got to understand, they didn't want us walking around as if everything was normal, because they knew that, number one, that takes away PPE from the people who need it. And they also knew that if we're walking around, we're definitely going to have a better chance of spreading it. So for Dr. Fauci and the CDC to say, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't wear masks, they were basically trying to say, stay your ass at home, don't go out, don't hoard everything. These people bought up all goddamn toilet paper. They bought up all toilet paper. Why did they buy toilet paper? Why?
Oh, so true.
Why? So imagine if you had all of these people out on the streets buying up all the PPE. We were losing 2,000 people a day. Imagine. Look what happened. They ran out. They bought up all the Lysol. They bought up all the cleaning wipes. They bought up
hand sanitizer. Yeah.
They bought up the goddamn toilet paper. I paid $36 for a 20-pack for a friend. $36 because it was scalped.
I think
of course they didn't want us out.
In the beginning, they didn't want people buying up the N95 masks, so they were trying to save those. And then they start promoting the cloth masks and make them in yourself and all that kind of stuff. And then it kind of opened up.
Did you see that video? Because I had posted it, I think. Do you remember that video where there was a Jewish guy in Brooklyn and they had to go to
I was just talking about that the other day, man.
The guy had a fucking truckload of goddamn masks.
Yes.
And he was trying to sell them for $10,000.
Right. And then the FBI went in and raided his house and started taking them.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. If you see, the problem is with the American public right now, most news stories don't survive past 24 hours. Most Americans' memories don't survive past like a year or a couple of months. So if you can't connect these dots over a long period of time, then it makes it look like there's a different narrative going on. There's not. These people are being poorly informed.
Yeah.
And because of it, they're not, like you say, we got to take it serious. We haven't taken it seriously since day one. A quarantine comes from the word 40 in Italian. That means 40 days. You're supposed to be isolated for 40 days. Since when did you ever see anybody isolated 40 days?
We got Critical Thinker here. We got Mike T. Man. We got Money Life Business. I actually have to get off of here in a few minutes, but I'm going to leave this on so everybody can talk live. Say whatever you want, guys. Try not to attack one another. Let's be honest how we really feel about this situation. This is a great opportunity for us to share how we really feel. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with Big Truck or anyone else. Like, this is a way for us to express how we feel and talk. But maybe you can change my mind even, if you have something smart to say.
Bruce, do you have Discord on your cell phone?
I do.
Make sure that when you get to that chicken dinner, make sure you take some photos and slide those in here so we can see that chicken dinner. Because I know she made rice. Because she's Filipino, so she had to have made her rice.
She probably did.
I know she made some rice.
Yeah. Damiz says, be respectful. Yeah, man. We'll try. Listen, man. Damiz, look, we're all Americans here, man. Look, I'm not saying, look, I am really pissed off about this whole thing. I'm not going to lie to you. All right. And it's hard to restrain myself from how much anger I feel about this whole situation when people are dying and stuff. That being said, I don't want to disrespect anybody's intelligence. I don't want to, but this is serious, man. I just don't see how we've gotten this far and 200,000 people are dead, and we're just pretending like our president isn't responsible for a great majority of these deaths that could have been prevented. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand people who are not mad. I don't understand people who are not upset. You should be really pissed off right now about this whole situation. I don't care I don't care who was in office under this. If they had done the same thing that our president has done, then I'd feel the same way about him. Roland says, I can tell you how we can fix everything. Let's go out and burn, shoot, loot, steal, and fix all that. Yeah, that's definitely not the answer, man. Nobody's saying that. Damiz says, I'm glad we're having this conversation. More of us need to have this. This is the only way as a country that we can move forward. Exactly, man. Exactly. But I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you and lie and say that I'm not upset about this. Man, I'm pissed off. And we have to do something about it. I'm absolutely pissed off, and everyone should be.
Well, Bruce, you see what he just tried to do. He tried to deflect to Black Lives Matter and Antifa about looting and shooting and stealing and all that. But guess what? All that does is point back to the Trump administration. He can't even communicate with his own governors to the point where they come up with a consensus of how to deal with anything, because none of the governors are going to listen to him.
Well,
Meanwhile, I want you to think, when Bill Clinton was in office, Bill Clinton, Joe Biden, they passed a crime bill. We had more crime than this back in the 90s and the 80s because of the crack epidemic, and look what they did. They passed a crime bill, and they cut crime dramatically. Even Rudy Giuliani, when he was my mayor, he got money from the Clinton administration to combat crime. We're in a situation where nobody takes Trump seriously, and he can't even communicate with the governors. He can't do it because they don't take him seriously.
I disagree with you on that crime bill thing, but we could talk about that later.
Hold on. Let me go back to what Ronald said. Listen, Ronald, I went to one of the protests here in Denver, and let me tell you something, man. All the stuff, the footage they show you on Fox News, I'm not saying it's not real, but some of it's taken out of context, for one thing. And for another thing, when I was at that protest, man, there was no Antifa there. There was no Antifa, man. The cops marched with us, man. It was a beautiful thing. The cops were there marching with us, helping block streets, keeping people safe. And we were talking about changing the laws and stuff. It was nothing. There was no windows being broken. We hugged it out at the end. There was black people there. It was mostly white people there, to be honest with you. There was Asian people. There was some Sikh Muslims there. I mean, some Sikhs and some Muslims. Like, it was amazing. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever been a part of. And to see people marching on behalf of young black men being shot in the back, It was incredible. I saw it for myself, so it wasn't fake news, man. It was real. So,
you mentioned that guy who got shot in the back by the cops for resisting. Did you see that video of David Ware and how the cops tased him and tried to get him out that car, and he turned around and blew both them cops' heads off?
no.
You see that video?
No.
Yeah, it's a video. It's David. His name is David Ware. It was this white guy, and the cops tussled with this guy and gave him every single opportunity to stop resisting. And this guy got his gun out, blew both them cops away. And naturally, they were both white male cops too. So if you look it up, David Ware, and they have the video cam footage from the car where it actually shows him shoot both of them in the head. And then there's also the video footage from their body camera where you can't see him shoot them both in the head. But the cop car footage shows them he blew both them away. And meanwhile, you got a black guy trying to get up in his car, and they shoot him in the back 7 times. So my thing is, listen, America and its hypocrisy is going to come back to bite it right in the ass. That's how it is.
I mean, one of the main things, like, I'm constantly trying to reassure my kids. You know, my kids are seeing this, and they're just, like, upset, you know. And I have to tell them, like, listen, the real problem is not the individual cops necessarily. It's the fact that the police department protects these guys who are made a mistake, and instead of like prosecuting them, instead of not only docking their pay but prosecuting them, they're trying to protect them. You know,
it's bigger. It's much worse than that. It's much worse than you think. Here's a question to you: how can cops not use lethal force and not use even less than lethal force and gain compliance over an entire generation that is dedicated to non-compliance? You've got kids who their parents can't do anything about them, their teachers can't do anything about them, and now they go out on the streets and they got to deal with police. How are you doing it? The police would never have to use their batons, their tasers, or their guns, but they need to get compliance, because with non-compliance, it becomes a dangerous situation for the cops. And the cops are there to make sure that it doesn't become a dangerous situation for them, even if they have to use lethal force.
Listen.
But what you're dealing with now is an entire generation of kids who doesn't give a shit, and they will do whatever they feel like doing.
I used to be a cop, and let me tell you something. That's a hard-ass job. And I totally haven't done it. I completely respect and love cops. That said, there's a systemic problem where we're not holding our police officers to the same standard as we would a citizen on the street, and they're protecting these officers who shouldn't be officers in the first place. You know, and lethal force is necessary sometimes. Sometimes lethal force there's no way around it. If you feel like your life is threatened, then you have to use lethal force. But a lot of these cases, you know, and this is not just my opinion. This is also the opinion of my cop buddy who was on this channel at one point. We would look at the same video and be like, "What the hell is this cop doing? We're shooting a dude in the back who's running away, who wasn't armed. It makes no sense."
Bruce, you know what? There's an old saying that if you have a hammer, every single problem looks like a nail.
Exactly.
So my thing about
and then they want to call the cops for everything. You guys want to call the cops to get rid of a vagrant who's in front of Safeway. You guys want to call the cops to have us get a dog out of the street. You want to have to call the cops for some crazy guy who has a mental issue, has no weapons, no nothing. Like, the cops we're not the cure-all for everything. You know, so there's this idea that cops have to do and that's a problem. And so what we should do is, like, address the stuff that you were just talking about. These kids who are not compliant. These kids are like, there's a problem in our inner cities that needs to be fixed, and the cops can't fix every problem, because, like you said, every problem, if you have a hammer, every problem is a nail. You know what I mean? So there has to be something. We got to do something else. I don't know what that something else is.
The problem they are arresting the fathers, and the fathers is not there in the home, so the kids get to act out. That is the problem, and it's been that way since the 60s.
Well, okay, listen, arresting the fathers is one thing, but you also have to understand there's a hell of a lot of households where there is no father in the household because you got parents having children and they're not married. So the
Yeah,
fathers are out there making more babies elsewhere. And now you've got a situation where you've got mothers who cannot control these kids, and these kids are going up against the cops.
you're glancing over the main issue. The main issue is they took um funding from poor households and made it so that the women will rely on the government. If the women didn't rely on the government, they would make better choices, pick better men, and also some of the fathers wouldn't be yanked out of the actual household because they wouldn't have to go and become a drug dealer, or they wouldn't have to do things that will get them arrested when they should be home. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Understand what you're alluding to, but I respectfully disagree with you. The thing of
Oh,
when you're talking about the welfare state, which I believe too has grown out of control. The problem is welfare has only grown because you have females who are voters who are voting for more government intervention. So the reason why welfare keeps growing is because women themselves are voting for more government intervention in the family. They have made it so that people cannot physically punish their kids through whippings and ass whippings. They've made that so. So that is part of the problem. And meanwhile, the police can whip your ass. They are corporal punishment administrators as far as I'm concerned. So wherein I kind of understand what you're talking about, but I don't think it came in that I don't think it came in that order. I will say this: a lot of fathers have chosen that they're having children outside of marriage and they move on to other women. They have more children. And because of that, you have households with no fathers in them because, as far as I know, polygamy is illegal. So if you can't address that issue, then you're never going to be able to address the fatherless household. Bottom
the
line.
father, the fatherless, the fatherless household was created in the black community. You do
But
realize that?
But that's not true because there's been fatherless households in every community since the dawn of time.
There was fatherless households in the black community, well, in all other communities, but
All communities.
It was created for us because
So
let's
here's my question. In Africa, all of those kids who were born to fatherless households that have never seen slavery ever, whose fault is that? Or look at these other countries like the Philippines, which is basically the theme of YuriBruce's channel, where they have a teen pregnancy epidemic and they have fatherless households to the point where the Philippines has become a matriarchy. Whose fault is that?
okay.
It's not America.
I can't speak on them, but I can speak for what we have going on here in America. And in those countries, guns wasn't dropped in the community. They didn't have a war. They had the fund in which they put the drugs in the community to pay for the war. You recall that, right?
Oh yeah, that would be the '80s crack epidemic.
Okay, so we have numerous opportunities to bring to the forefront that this was created for us. We are considered the throwaways. So whatever happens in our community, so be it. And also, they are profiting from us being in prison. That's their way of getting money. That's the new form of slavery. If everything points to let's take advantage of those people and money comes from that, you don't think that they are going to profit off of it?
Well, listen, people who get their capital gains from buying prison, like for instance, Michael Jordan spent $20 million buying prison stock. There are lots of people who do profit from, how should I say, poverty. The biggest problem that I have with the Democratic Party is the Democrat Party is mostly headed by white people who have no idea how to manage black poverty. That's because they're not supposed to have to manage black poverty. So people are going to profit one way or another. You've got black people who profit off of black poverty too. Teachers, for one, black cops, for another. They profit off of it too. The the wealthy will always profit off of the poor. That's just how the economy is. Now, to put a skin color in it doesn't change anything. The wealthy will always profit off of the poor. Always.
You're making it too general. They
You
have
know why I have to?
wording.
Because this stretches beyond just skin color. That's the reason why I have to.
I would say that, but if we are in, I will repeat this: we are in the Constitution for a reason. We were picked to be put in the Constitution, so therefore, we are judged by our skin color, and because of our skin color, we have been held down historically.
Well, hold on. You say we were picked to be in the Constitution. I would argue that the Constitution was never designed to apply to blacks beyond that of slavery, and blacks in America were designed to be a permanent underclass since that time. Now, the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment were designed to make black people citizens post-slavery and to end slavery legally, since the Emancipation Proclamation couldn't do it. So I would argue that yes, black people were brought to America to be a permanent underclass of slaves, and that the Constitution, again, did not apply to us because of the fact that we were slaves. So when they said all men were created equal, they were not counting us, but the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment made it count us. And that came very, very, very late in the game. So I'm not discounting a history of racism in this country. I'll never do that. I'll never say that racism wasn't institutionalized in this country. It always was. What I'm saying is the things that you have control over now are the things that you should be looking out for. Like, for instance, right now, I don't have any children. Why? Because when I lay down with one of these chicks, I make sure I load her ass up on birth control and that I'm not having no kids that day. So there are certain things that we have control over. And by the way, I don't practice infidelity. If I get married, I'm not sleeping with anybody else. So all I'm saying is there are things that we have control over. That's what I'm saying. So right now, I don't have any illegitimate children. I don't have any children at all because I just didn't want any. I like to spend my money on race cars. But bottom line is, there are things we have control over. So for you to tell me, yeah, it's all just due to racism, all I'm saying is, yeah, racism played a part in it, but I believe that there is a level of personal responsibility. And that's why most blacks were actually of Republican conservative ideology up until the Republican Conservative Party turned into a bunch of closeted racists. So that's all I'm saying.
Well, I never stated that. I stated the reason that this has occurred is because of racism. I never stated that we have no control over how we act or how we react to the situation.
But you're saying they're taking black men out of the family. I've never been arrested. So my thing is, what are people doing that is causing them to get arrested at a level where you can say that in general they're taking us out of the family? What are they doing?
I'm glad you said that, because you're one of the very few that hasn't gotten arrested, especially living in New York City.
Exactly. I'm 39.
All you got to do is walk down the wrong block in New York City and get arrested.
Well, when you say the wrong block, listen, I'll tell you what. When I go over to my aunt's house, she lives in State Street, Brooklyn, and it's a very wealthy neighborhood, right? When I go over there, yeah, people look at me some type of way, but I've never actually done anything to warrant being arrested. But when people go into these wealthy communities, and there are some of them who go there to steal or to do car theft, that's never been me, and I've never been caught for any of it. So all I'm saying there is, once again, what are people doing that is allowing them to be scrutinized on that level whether, and I'm not saying that there's not police misconduct. I'm not saying that there's not some
You're treading a
conspiracy.
dangerous line right now.
If you say so, but I'll tell you this: when I'm growing up with a culture where I turn on the damn radio and they're suggesting to these kids that having guns and shooting people and selling drugs and shit is cool. I was listening to a song a minute ago. Young nigga, move that dope. Young nigga, move that. I never moved dope. You know why? Because I've always worked an honest living, even when I was only making $7.50 working at a goddamn mobile bar. So I know children who sell fucking drugs. So my only thing is, I'm sorry. Listen, if you're gonna put yourself in a situation like that, or you want some goddamn Air Jordans or a gold watch so bad that you're willing to commit crime for it, you're gonna accept the consequences. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so that being said, you just now stated that you know kids that sell drugs. Okay, I'll
Yes.
go for that. I know there are kids that sell drugs. But what do you think the percentage of children that sell drugs let's say, all right, let's pick 100. 100 kids that sell 100 kids that are growing up in New York City. We're using a specific spot, New York City.
Okay.
Out of 100 kids, how many of those kids you think sold drugs?
Out of 100 kids, how many?
Yes.
I would say possibly between 20 and 30%.
20 and 30%.
So I'll basically say 2 or 3. I'll say 2 or 3 out of 10.
Okay.
And let me explain where I get that number. The reason why I got that number is because if you even have one who does it, that entices a second one to do it, because the second one is trying to keep up with the first one. That's the reason why that's how I get 20 to 30. That's why.
Okay.
In fact, I have a cousin who sells freaking marijuana, and it's a female. So listen, it happens.
That's fine. I'm good with that number. That means 70% of the people that means 70% of the kids didn't sell drugs. That is an overwhelming majority. Yet and still, you're trying to say that you're trying to give the rules of the 30% that's selling drugs, which is extraordinarily high. But I'll go with that. The minority should cast doubt over the whole majority. That is not how things work. Not outside of the black community.
I don't think that's the way things should work. But the problem is, if you put yourself out there, or if you let somebody else create a narrative for you and you end up living within that narrative, then that's the reality you end up being a part of. Now, I'm sure a lot of people would look at me, and just because of my skin color, they might expect me to be selling drugs or something, or to be a criminal or something. But the bottom line is, I don't live that reality. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying it's okay. What you're basically living in is you're living in a system of discrimination where you're discriminated on based simply on skin color. And that's it. Like, for instance, most people, even in a positive light, most people expect me to be good at basketball just because I'm tall and black. I'm not good at basketball, but they expect it because that's what the media says I'm supposed to be able to do. Or they expect me to be good at football.
Okay.
So it's a level of discrimination based solely on the way I look. It's just like when you're looking at these Asian kids, they have created a discrimination that says all Asian kids are really good at math. Most Asian kids aren't good at math.
But do you accept that? That's the problem.
I don't accept it. But I don't let it define me. I don't accept it. I don't accept it. I don't accept it. And I also don't let it define me. I do what I feel like doing the way I want to do it, and I don't let anybody write my narrative for me. That's all.
But by saying, I wonder what these people are doing, and that puts them in a precarious situation that gets them arrested, is almost like you're drinking the same Kool-Aid that the white people are putting in, making available. You do realize that, right?
Wait, repeat what you just said?
By you saying, I wonder what these people are doing to put them in a situation that allows them to get arrested, is drinking the same Kool-Aid and believing that the 30% what the 30% do should be held for the overwhelming majority. You do know that, right?
Well, excuse me. Forget what the white man says. I've seen enough in person of what my people or people who look like me are capable of doing. And I've seen it in person and I've seen it on videotape. So to just turn around and say I didn't do something and I'm innocent doesn't mean that you're innocent. That just means that you're proclaiming an innocence and that you're trying to shift the blame to somebody else. My bottom line is, listen, forget even the drugs. With all of these shootings that are happening, I mean, I see the people doing it. So I don't need anybody to write the narrative for me. I see it happening. So what do you say? That's not acquiescing to the white narrative. That's me going by my own observation. So what? I don't understand. Like, at a certain point, you have to stop shifting blame. At a certain point, you just have
I'm not saying shit. I'm not talking about blame shifting. I'm saying accepting what someone has put over on you and their thought patterns. Of course, if you're around black people, you're going to see nothing but black crime. But you do also know if you're around white people,
I agree, but you're in a country that doesn't care about white crime. Once you see, that's the whole thing. Again, if you know that there is a system of discrimination where people are by sight discriminating against you, you have to be better, or you have to choose not to fall into that narrative. But if you're going to choose to be part of that narrative, then what am I supposed to say? They don't care how many white people kill white cops. They don't care how many white people commit crimes. But the media will care that you're black and you've done something wrong. Are you going to give them what they're looking for to share and perpetuate that image or not? But as I said, I don't have any illegitimate kids because I load them with birth control. And I'm 100% certain not to have any illegitimate kids. I'm not going to let anybody call me a bad father. I choose not to be a father.
Another thing, blacks are usually great fathers. And
I didn't say they weren't. I just said that if I was, I'm going to control whether or not I am something. I didn't say whether or not you're good or bad.
No, I didn't say.
I just said that I'm not.
I'm not saying you did. Not saying you said that.
Thank you.
I'm not saying that.
Thank you. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying, listen, you have to. If I wanted to, I could go right under my bed right now. I could get a gun and I could go out and I could decide, you know what, fuck it, I'm tired of working. I'm gonna start robbing people. I could do it, but I ain't gonna do that because I know that it doesn't end well.
I know a majority doesn't do that. I don't know.
Well, they need to start fucking doing it. They need. When are they gonna start? Oh, and by the way,
you do realize the media pickle they want you to see, right?
No. The media, listen, Ted Koppel and John Hannity never held a gun to my head and made me buy in to gangster rap or bad images of black people, whether it be, they never did that. They put it out there, or in fact, I shouldn't even say they put it out there. There's plenty of young kids right now who want to be the next big rapper so that they can get rich quick and not have to work for it. So all I'm saying is, listen, I choose not to associate with any of that because I already know it doesn't end well. The people who want into that narrative and want into that lifestyle are lined up to get into it. So if it comes down to them slinging dope, or if it comes down to them being gangbangers of some type, they think that it's an easy way to get what they want. And eventually you have to stop blaming people for that. They are creating a market and they are perpetuating that market. And that's the bottom line. That is the bottom line. At this point, with all of the pro-black information out there, with all of the black men, whether it be Bill Cosby or whoever, who sat there and told you, listen, you got to stop calling each other the N-word and you got to stop having illegitimate kids. Even with me saying what I'm saying right now, there's somebody who wants to go against that shit.
Because you got to also understand that you're just glancing. You're not, all you're looking at right now And what you're saying is true, but there's levels, and you're like on level 1. You got to go to level 3 in order to fix the problem.
No, you know what? In order for me to fix the problem, I would have to somehow be able to take away everybody's free will and make them act exactly like me. That's the way you fix the problem. Like, for instance, you know what I would do? I would make it... No. Let me tell you like this. You know what I would do? The first thing I'd do is I'd make it illegal to say the N-word. And then some asshole would jump up and say, oh, well, that's free speech. And then I'd say, well, guess what? If you put it in a song or you say it, if you call a woman a bitch or some shit, you're going to fucking jail. So if I did that, there'd be 1,000 people lined up to fight me. There'd be 1,000,000 people lined up to fight me. If I went on Facebook, this cocksucker Zuckerberg won't allow you to say shit about gays on Facebook, right? If I go on Facebook and say, well, guess what? You're no longer allowed to use the word nigger, niggers, or anything of the sort, I'd have a bunch of assholes lined up to fight me. You have to take away free fucking will. That's what you got to do. That's what you do.
You know why you're doing it? Instead of you know what? You're trying to be politically correct. And the problem isn't on certain people. You need to pick the group that the problem is on.
Okay.
You need to, if you're going to say nigga and you want to stop people from saying nigga or wanting to say nigga, you need to go to the white people from saying it.
I'm talking about the black fucking rappers using it 100 times in a song. That's not a white man doing that.
Where did it come from?
Well, it doesn't matter where it came from. Are you going to perpetuate it? No, it does not. Are you going to perpetuate it or not?
Lord have mercy. So
are you going to... No. Answer me a simple question. Are you going to keep doing it or not? What are you going to do? I'm talking about a totalitarian absolute. Are you going to keep doing it or are you going to not keep doing it? What are you going to do? And if you're going to keep doing it, then you deserve the consequence. Bottom line. It's exactly like right now we're facing a situation where half of these assholes want to vote for this idiot Trump again. Are you going to keep voting for this guy to keep putting his foot in your ass? Are you going to keep... Is that what you want? Well, then guess what? If he vote him back in and he fucking kills you, then you deserve it. That's how I feel about it. And I'm saying this personally, but I'm saying either you're going to stop the fucking cycle or you're going to continue repeating the cycle until it puts his foot right in your ass. That's how I feel about that shit. So yes, I would absolutely take away free will to be able to do stupid shit. That's what I would do. You wouldn't even be allowed to do it. And if you want to do it, you're going to jail. How about that?
When you have to revamp the jail system?
No, you don't. You just build bigger jails. In fact, I would have jails just like on that movie Face Off, where you're on a fucking oil derrick and you got a magnetic boots on. And when you're walking around, they can just flip the switch and you get stuck to the floor.
You're glancing over this system is horrible, man. I
know it's horrible. The people are fucked up.
You know it's horrible, man.
I know it's horrible. I'm not saying it's not.
That would be a total band-aid to fix the problem.
Well, it would be a start. They haven't started yet. That's my argument. It would be a start to fixing the problem.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
I agree with some of your points, but it's
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The glance over some of the things is like, oh, we need a deep dive. But okay.
Yeah, that's all. That's all I'm saying. It's like again, there's nothing stopping me from being. There's nothing stopping me from right now just doing the worst that I could possibly be doing. The only thing that stops me from doing it is that small level of self-control that says, listen, this isn't going to go well. Now, I'm not saying that everybody is choosing the wrong path. What I'm saying is that if enough people do choose the wrong path, it continues to perpetuate a cycle of wrong paths. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I think we can agree on that, right?
Yep.
There we go. Okay, that's all I'm saying. How's everything going with you?
Everything's great.
You talked to that? You're a Filipino chick. You talked to her lately? How's she doing?
No.
Oh, to get a or something. Because I remember you were telling me something about it.
I'm want to see exactly what works out.
Yeah, I want to get back there in the worst way. Because I tell you, it's really boring being here, man. I tell you.
How is this?
We need.
How is this?
Huh?
How is this thing that their president did going to affect us?
Well, you mean Duterte with the order of state of emergency?
Yes, let's talk about that.
Basically, it makes it so you can't.
Oh, so you can't even. Wow.
No. They're trying to open up the borders, but the thing about it is their coronavirus deaths are increasing. I think it went up from 3,000 to about 5,000 over the last 3 or 4 weeks, right? So the problem is Philippines very isolated and they rely heavily on tourism, whether it be tourism from Asia or whether it be tourism from the West. So right now we're in a situation that unless you're married to one of them or unless you absolutely have a family over there, it's very difficult to get there.
Gotcha.
It's very, very difficult. It's like basically they're on lockdown. They're still on lockdown
until what is it? September 21.
Yeah, until this time next year, basically, because they think is going to be so negative until it's really going to last a whole year. And technically, they're probably right. Considering how many people are already in poverty before this. So it's ugly. It's an ugly situation.
You guys, y'all going at it.
Oh no, we can't.
Mick man. Oh no, we good. Listen, just because I raised my voice doesn't mean we're going at it.
Okay. All
right. This is normal. This is normal.
This is my first time here, but I've been following Bruce Yuri for a long time.
Oh, how are you, Mick man? What are you into Filipino dating or something too?
My fiance is Filipino.
Good man. So where's she from?
Mindanao, CDO.
Isn't Mindanao a goddamn war zone?
You know what? People keep saying that, but I've never experienced that.
Well, yeah. Well, because I was reading in one of the Filipino things, like somebody blew themselves up, like just recently. One of them Indonesians with a suicide vest. But I mean, so you've been there a couple of times, huh? You've been there lately?
I've been there 13 times. I was supposed to go in May. Yeah. My 5-year plan.
Wow. 13. Oh, so do y'all have children or something?
No, we don't have children. We just been taking my time, getting to know her family. I made her treat me good as girl.
13 times, my God. How old are you? 57. How old is she?
47.
47. Oh, okay.
Oh, not young. It's not
most 58-year-old guys that I know, they get one who's like 22.
I don't have time to raise nobody else's child, man. I'm on this side of my life. I need somebody to know what they're doing.
No, good man. Does she already have children or not?
Our stepdaughter is 8 years old.
Our stepdaughter, you mean her child with a Filipino guy?
Her Filipino guy, he's deceased. She's a widow.
Oh, okay. And do you already have children of your own?
I have 3 grown.
Oh, okay. That sounds great.
And three grandkids.
Oh, that's good. See, I'm 39, and I'm dating a chick who's like 20, I think 2, and no, she'll be like 22 this year. But I don't have any children yet, and it's like I ain't raising nobody else's kids, so it's like we'll just work it out.
Well, for me, it was getting to know her folks. A pop just passed about 40 days ago.
Aww.
And, but he treated me like son, when we was there looking to purchase land and everything.
That's what I figured.
Went out and, going to the mall. He said, son, come on, we're going to stop by something. Stop by, I want to show you something. So, we went out and he was talking to this guy. And my fiance, she said, "Hold on, Papa, gonna talk to this man over here." And I said, "Well, what did he say?" She said, "Well, he said the land is for his daughter and his son over there. That type of thing." I mean, and I didn't tell you I use a wheelchair for mobility. So when I travel with my wheelchair. I mean, every place I want to go that assists me in getting there. I mean, nothing but good people.
Are you planning to the Philippines and live there, or are you planning to stay here?
You know what? Until this Corona thing hit, that was my plan. That's what my plan. Now I have a plan B because I wasn't even going to maintain a place here. Now I'm in the process of purchasing a condo, so that there is a plan B per se, rather than coming back to live with family. Because if I had to come back, I would be coming back to live with family, and that's a whole nother thing. So just get on a condo, short lease when I'm out of the country, no more than a 30-day lease on the property, stuff like that. But I really want to move there. I mean, it's like home when I'm there. When I'm there, it's like, man, I'm glad I'm home.
Yeah.
So
I know exactly how you feel, but I guess you also have probably heard the warnings not to buy anything in anybody else's name, and also, what is it? Not to buy anything in anybody else's name, and also not to put anything in her name. I guess you've heard those warnings, I suppose.
I've heard all of those warnings, and what we were planning to do, talked it over with a lawyer in their license in California, and they have affiliated offices here in the Atlanta area. He said, do a 30 if you're going to buy it in her name, and do a 30-year lease on 20-year lease on it.
Okay, that sounds good.
After 20 years, I won't care anyway. I'll be too old to do it.
Oh, okay.
I'm just being realistic. I'm 57 years old. 20. If I'm gonna be with a woman 20 years, I'm thinking she should be entitled to whatever I have left after that point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
I hope things work out.
Yeah. I mean, we've been together for 5 years, so at this point, her family is my family, and I trust her to that level.
Good. Yeah, I hope everything works out.
I mean, that's within any relationship, though. That's in any relationship, whether she's American or any nationality. I mean, you run that risk. I mean, love is a gamble. Life is a gamble. You take educated chances.
Yeah.
Based on the 5 years of information building and everything, people get married in less than a year, some less than that, and they last. I mean, with 5 years, she's put up with me for 5 years, now I put up with her for 5 years, and so it's like, I have nothing bad to say about her. I mean, I have nothing bad to say about her family. I would think in this time of over 5 years, I would have seen something, but when I'm there, I mean, and they know, and she knows how to budget money. $1,000 budget for girl, and a Filipino doesn't look at money the way we look at it.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
1,000. I've lived in the Philippines, so I understand. If you can live there on $1,000 a month.
If you just imagine if you own your own property, your own land. I mean, it doesn't have to be big, but if you own your own, $1,000 is a lot of money, especially if you already own your own house.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money. Our daughter, she's in the private school there, and school is like private school there in CDO is $1,000 for the year. Can you imagine if we had the private schools here in the United States, what that would cost?
A lot more, like $10,000, $20,000.
$20,000 for the caliber of school that she's in.
Wow.
And it's I've been Papa ever since when she was born. When my stepdaughter was born, we'll put it like this: when she died, when her papa died, she was 3 months old in the womb, so she never knew him. And I've been in her life since she was a little over 2 years old, so I'm the only papa that she's ever known.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. I mean, and that works out. I'm 57 years old. I'm not gonna have any more kids. Which would have been unfair to the Filipino if I had went to her and she's young enough to have kids and that type of thing. Then I'm telling her, no, I'm not gonna have kids. No, I purposely looked and sought out someone that already had a child, so that wouldn't be a problem within our relationship. I mean, which is to me was I wanted a widower. I didn't want to have to deal with the baby father drama type of thing, and she's a widower. So which makes sense. I mean, for me, from on my angle.
Oh no, absolutely, it makes a lot of sense. No, no,
It does.
I mean, as long as you know, if you already have children, she already has children. It's like both of you are coming into the relationship with your own kids and everything. It's like, yeah, that's a really good thing. It's just like me personally, I didn't want to date somebody who already has children by somebody else. That's just me.
I really do.
You know, that's the reason why a lot of the guys who are looking for wives overseas, it's like they always go for younger women, and that's how I'm doing it. It's like I'm going as young as they go. You know,
Well, you're looking to start a family eventually, so
exactly.
that makes sense. That makes sense. Me, no, I don't. Don't want that all over again. At my age, I mean, the fact that she has an 8-year-old, I'm 50. I'm looking at in the long run. I'm 57 years old, and when she's 20, I will be 57. I'll be 70 years old. So that's it.
Oh, I hear you. I hear you. That sounds perfectly logical. That
So man,
sounds perfectly
how soon
logical.
when this and you were mentioning about, well, I had the 9A visa prior to my prior to the COVID coming in, and they canceled the visa. You know that you can get the 9A visa is a 12-month visa with multiple entries. And
Yeah.
so I was getting ready to leave out in May, and that's when COVID hit, and with the canceling all the flights and everything. And so at this point, I've got an attorney, and he's talking. Well, he's from what he's telling me, thinks he's going to be able to work it out because I can show a long, constant relationship with the Filipino and showing that I'm support to her and her child. I mean, you got affidavits from her mom, from her sister and brother. So it's looking like just maybe I'll be able to get in before the end of the year.
Yeah. See, I'm trying. I think I'm trying to go for the K1.
Well, I want to go. I want to go there. Um, at least 3 months. The ideal situation would have been for us to be 9 months there and 3 months here out of the year. And so, that's what I want to do. I just need, and plus here is just crazy anyway, with all other stuff going on. So it's like, you know,
Oh no, here is absolutely insane.
yeah.
If I could go there right now and not look back, I'd be gone. You know, the
I,
only problem that I have here is right now I have too many assets and my money is locked up here right now, you know?
yeah, like I said, I had a 5-year plan, and that was part of my 5 allowed me to save up a lot of money, put some back and everything. I mean, a lot of guys go over there with just their disability or their social security and everything. Well, I want more than that. I took 5 years with my plan to save up my money, move some investments and stuff around, and moving in May, we would have probably been married this month, and so just everything is just on hold.
Yeah, this coronavirus really, really screwed us real bad.
But
Everything's on hold.
but I know I've seen a lot of people that have had relationships, and because of this corona thing, a lot of them have fell apart, because of the long distance thing. But I've been in a long distance relationship, so we know how to communicate and uh, relate to each other because of long distance type thing. I mean, long distance relationships are a hard thing to maintain anyway, So, but I think we're good. And I think a lot of people are going to be good. People are going to get a chance to see who's really on their side, doing this all thing. You're going to see a lot of character building, and you'll see a lot of flaws in a lot of people because of all this stuff that's going on,
No,
which is
I absolutely agree with you.
happening right now. So,
Yeah,
yep.
I absolutely agree.
But Trucker, I'm out of here, man. I've got a little bit of work to do, and before I call it a night here in the hot Atlanta town.